Seems to be dropping.
Thank goodness for that.
What's that?
That's all right. There's only some idiot roof hopping.
I hate it. I hate the noise. It's like calico tearing.
Steady on, girl. Steady on. Nothing to worry about.
Darling.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't possibly consider scratching from the race on Saturday.
Now, listen, honey, we've had all this out before.
I know we have, and I know I'm a selfish beast. It's only...
Only what?
I am in a bit of a panic about it. Now that plane...
Well, this is rather ridiculous, isn't it? Now, this race is far less of a risk than flying to Latuka in a high wind, which we've done many times. I just don't understand you.
I don't really understand myself. I expect it's Junior making me idiotic. Get on with your maps and I'll stop fidgeting at you. Oh, my God.
It's too far away for me to help him, I'm afraid.
What in heaven's name was that?
Some fool flying too low. Sounds as though he's bought it.
Oh, poor devil.
Don't.
Well, what are you up to, Jack?
I'm just checking over this course. Nothing much in the way of landmarks on the first leg.
This is the King's Cup.
Yes.
How long is it exactly?
Roughly 1,000 miles.
Was that awful noise? It was nothing big.
They change the course every year, don't they?
Usually this year it's 20 laps of 50 miles each. Here. Here's a map of the course.
Hatfield to Bandingford and to Barton and back to Hatfield. That's 50 miles, is it?
Yes.
And you do that 20 times?
Yes.
Why? To make it 1,000 miles, silly. Oh, I see.
Anti-clockwise, eh? So all the turns are to port.
Right.
No, left, actually.
Do you know, I rather wish I'd entered last year when Peter did. That was a race around Britain taking 2 days. Much more fun than this.
Listen to this. First prize, £800. Jack, imagine if you win. Or even if you came second.
What plane are you flying?
The Percival New Gull. Very good aeroplane. Belongs to Poole Aviation. Or should I say Geoffrey Cartland. I persuaded him that this race would be very good publicity.
Any likely problems?
None at all. Unless we get a strong southwest wind, which is what we've got at the moment.
And what's the weather forecast?
Well, I
how is
haven't
my
checked
dear
on
aunt
today,
today?
of course.
Oh, very well.
Time to check in, apparently.
Envy you leaping about the tennis court.
Oh, never mind. Only another 4 weeks. I tell you what.
What?
Klaus is intensely jealous of Jack. He simply longed to be in the race.
But he couldn't. It's only for British crews.
I know.
Quite a lot of us entering.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Why don't you and Klaus go to Hatfield and see the start? I was going to go.
Yes, but you were so obstinate about having your infant here rather than in London, and now you're stuck.
Exactly. So what about it, Vicky?
Oh, I think it would be marvellous. It's on Saturday, isn't it? So Klaus will be free.
Let's ask Jack. Jack,
Where?
we've had an idea.
Well, I hope it doesn't hurt much.
Any Rogers, I said to Fred only last night. At least we won't be having that Miss Scott down this weekend.
Oh, dear Eileen, you've taken an awful dislike to her. And in my opinion, you're not fair. She may be a journalist, which is not the thing at all for a woman, but she's a very pleasant young lady.
Well, she's not a fit wife for the commander.
Now, who said anything about a wife for the commander?
You know, Mr. Parsons was telling me the other day that poor Mrs. Cartland has been depressed lately. Oh, I do think it's a shame.
Shame or not, it's none of our business, and very well you know it.
Did you hear it?
Hear what?
Where the explosion?
I heard it. What was it, Fred?
One of the planes from the flying club came down.
Oh, no. Was the pilot killed?
They don't know yet, but the plane's a fair mess, they say.
How do you come to know about it?
Oh, Mr. Funnell's just brought the month's coal. Here, see? I'm all mucky. He was delivering to Colonel Braithwaite when the news came through, seeing as how he's chief constable.
Oh, poor young man. I mean, there he was, flying along in the sunshine one minute, enjoying himself. And the next minute, oh, it don't bear thinking about.
Oh, well, stop thinking about it, Irene. And not a word of this to Phyllis, mind. She's worried enough over this silly air race as it is.
Well, Mr. Poole should never have gone in for it, with us so near a time. He ought to drop out, if you ask me.
Yeah, but nobody did ask you, Arlene.
Well, Nanny agrees with me, and that's for sure.
Oh, I agree, all right. But I don't expect Mr. Poole to drop out. He's like most of the men, just plain selfish when it comes to putting himself in danger. Oh, dear me, I hope this is not going to worry Phyllis anymore.
Oh, there's Mrs. Cartland's car. I didn't hear her arrive.
Oh, you've been talking too much, Fred, to hear anything but your own voice.
It was just outside Penyard. I mean, I couldn't get through. I had to reverse and go right round the other way. There were 2 police cars, an ambulance, the local fire engine. Oh, not to mention Godfrey Braithwaite, who was throwing his weight about as usual. Phil, what's the matter?
Can we go for a walk in the garden, Jack?
Why not? Though I'd like to hear what happened. Is the aeroplane a write-off?
Oh, yes, I'm afraid so. Burst into flames.
It's horrible. Let's go, Jack.
He was quite an inexperienced pilot, so I gather, Phil.
There you are, some young fool pushing his luck. You see,
I want
Phil.
the fresh air.
All right.
Sorry.
You were hardly the height of tact, my dear.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'd quite forgotten that Jack was flying the King's Cup. Oh, I hope I haven't upset Phil too much. Do you think Jack will scratch?
Oh, I think not. So do I.
No, I'm certain of it. No, Jack's mad keen to win this race. I believe he's even got some side bets on it as well.
He has. Trust him.
Yes, he should never have entered in the first place. But having done so, he must go through with it. Oh, my poor sister. I hope she didn't hear the news on the wireless this morning.
What news?
A pylon at Buntingford, being used as a marker for a turning point, was blown down in a gale in the early hours.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, there's plenty of time for the weather to change by Saturday, thank heaven. And mind, I must bring the Appleton. And by the way, have you any idea who the poor fellow was who crashed?
No, no one knows. Member of the New End Flying Club, I suppose. Oh, well. Come on, tell me your news.
Well, none really. Klaus is working. I mean, he isn't here.
Oh, hard luck.
And I have 5 days off, thank goodness. And Laura's away staying with those dreary cousins.
Yes, I know, the Yorkshire ones. I can't believe she's going there. I mean, they're so boring. She owes them nothing.
Well, partly manners, partly to discuss wedding plans.
Of course, perfectly right. Anyway, Peter's away at the moment. He had to go to Nice. Some panic on in the office. He left on Sunday.
So, you're all alone at Playford?
Well, I have been away myself.
Yes, I know. We rang up to find out if you'd like to make a fourth at tennis. Parson said you'd been away on Monday and expected back on Friday. But you rang up to postpone. He was, I must say, somewhat aggrieved.
He can be a bit of an elder statesman. Now, I went to stay with my father in London to do some shopping and go to the hairdressers and went a very special meeting for the WVS on Tuesday luncheon. And in the evening, oh, a very grand party at the Duff Coopers. Oh, she's made that house lovely. Anybody who is anybody was there. Except for you, Arthur Bourne. Why not?
Well, as you said, it was a very grand party.
Oh,
No, actually, I only just got back from Gibbs. Some shortages in the dockyard, so I'm taking a few days' leave.
Do tell us, Rosie, who was there. Royalty.
Yes, the Kents. Oh, she looked lovely. Oh, and our hostess was quite beautiful. I was very glad I splurged on a new frock. Do you know, it made me wonder whether it was the last big party before the war starts. Like the ball at Brussels.
Oh, before Waterloo.
Exactly. Oh, this will interest you, Arthur. Your lady friend was there.
Ma?
Come off it, Daddy. Angela Scott.
Oh, was she indeed?
Yes, seemingly she's becoming very well known in journalistic circles. She looked very handsome in dark red. Though, personally, I didn't think it was quite her colour.
Meow.
Who was she with, I wonder?
Oh, very handsome man. Father didn't recognise him, but I'm sure I did. An American from the embassy.
Oh, interesting.
I think I'll go and join Jack and Phil.
Oh, that's probably from the Admiralty. I'll take it in the study.
You mustn't tease my poor father. I won't have it.
Tease him? What do you mean? Anyway, I'd better go, or Parsons really will be angry.
Oh, not a very long conversation.
No, it was only Geoffrey. He wants to come over and see me about the Elsmore business.
Seems to be resolving itself, all right?
Yes, it does.
Well, I must be off. Oh, I quite forgot. I tell you who was there on Tuesday. Shades of the past. Hong Kong, 1923.
Well, no, obviously. Who was it?
Bill Oldershaw. Do you remember him?
Yes, of course I do. He's rather a good rugger player.
Oh, an international, no less.
So he was. Well, how is he? I haven't seen him for ages.
Oh, he's looking marvellous. Hardly a grey hair in his head.
Is he still in the service?
Yes, sir, flag captain. He sent you fond messages. He took me out for dinner last night. We talked for ages.
Oh, jolly good. Who did he marry?
He didn't. He's still a bachelor. Well, bless you, Liz. Tell Phil I'm on call whenever she wants me. Alice is away, isn't she?
Yes, she's staying with a friend near Bath, back in 2 weeks.
Ah, in time for the arrival of the baby.
Yes, exactly. Well, she and Nanny are in a great state of excitement about it. Oh, Phil.
I can imagine. Darling, could I have a little private word in your ear?
Yes, of course.
Bye, Arthur. Lovely seeing you. We must arrange something. I've got people for the weekend.
People for the weekend.
Liz, do you think Peter and Laura have had a row?
Well, I haven't been here for 3 weeks, so Vicky hasn't said anything. Why?
Well, it may be nothing, but when he left on Saturday, there wasn't the usual, goodbye, darling, I'll phone every night, and it won't be long, darling. Do you know they parted almost coolly? I just wondered.
Oh, don't worry, Rosie. Just a lover's tiff, I expect. Silly word, tiff, isn't it?
Oh, bless you, darling. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I say, Liz, I've just remembered something.
Anything important?
No, not remotely. Do you know that fella, Bill Oldershaw, Rosie was talking about? He wanted to marry her.
Oh, really?
No, but she wouldn't have him. Wouldn't hear of it.
Well, she could now, couldn't she? Now that her divorce is going through.
Yes. Yes, of course she could.
It's all settled. I'm going to ring Klaus and we're both going over to Hatfield on Saturday to see the start of the race.
Oh, good.
And Jack says I can fly up with him tomorrow. Was that all right?
Oh, why not?
Bless you. I'll ring Klaus this evening.
Yeah, but don't talk for too long. Remember my telephone bill.
The afternoon post, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, shall I bring in tea, Mrs. Phil?
Oh, do, I'm parched.
Oh, rather a bulky one for you to fill.
Oh, let me.
I recognise that handwriting, Vicky.
Klaus.
He's gone to read it under the cedar tree, silly girl. Official-looking one for you, Liz. Oh, one from your grandmother. Yes, the rest are all mine.
Oh, Jack, look. From Katie for the baby.
Oh, lovely.
Isn't it beautiful? Oh,
From Mrs. Biggins. You remember she came here once with her husband.
oh, yes, I remember. It was last October when the Archdeacon came to lunch.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, they're beautifully made, aren't they? Mrs. Biggins?
The French nuns, I should say.
Yes.
Would you take this into the commander, Mrs. Gates?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad someone's going to come with me, as you can't, lovey.
So am I.
What about you, Liz?
Oh, I think I'll stay and keep Phil company. I don't like planes anyway, noisy brutes.
No noisier than babies.
Liz, could you spare me a moment in the schoolroom, dear? It's that blouse I'm altering for you.
Yes, I'll come up now.
No, have your tea first, dear.
Oh, I don't want any tea. I'm out of the way of it.
Oh, Liz, darling, would you give these to Nanny? She knows where they go. They're quite lovely, Nanny.
Yes.
You must wear them for best.
Oh, lovely. Oh, my, what beautiful work. Oh, lucky wee Ben.
I'm sorry. I was idiotic. I should never have fussed you the way I did.
I'm not so sure. I wonder if I ought.
No.
I will if you want me to.
You would never forgive me, and I would never forgive myself. And that's that. You give us a kiss, lover.
I think I'll go and get those maps from the car. You won't be wanting them, will you?
I'm not driving much at present.
Right, I'll go and do that now. What does Katie say?
Well, I haven't read it all. She goes on, so I must finish it. Crikey. Jack!
Oh, did you call?
I was calling Jack, but he's gone out.
Oh, can I help?
No. Yes, and better than my darling husband, who would only say it was no business of mine.
Well, if I had the remotest idea what you're talking about...
You remember Katie Biggins?
Yes, the wife of the manager at the Nice office. As I remember, I didn't like her very much.
No, you wouldn't. Now, she sent me a present for the baby and a long, quite amusing letter. But there's a P.S. that worries me, and I think I must tell you, and if you think I'm fussing, we won't say anything to the others.
Oh, perhaps you'd better read it to me.
P.S. I don't know whether to tell you this. I've discussed it with Dennis, and he says I'd better, because Laura is sort of one of your family, isn't she?
Laura? What does she mean?
Peter came out here on Sunday for a meeting on Monday. He didn't say anything about staying on, but on Monday night, Dennis and I were due to dine with some friends who were staying at Antibes. And when we went to find out the number of their room, guess what we saw in the register? Mr. and Mrs. Peter Cartland. He asked the manager, who positively smirked and said they were dining in their room and did not want to be disturbed.
Good Lord.
Can you imagine it? Peter, a dark horse. It was maddening not to catch a glimpse of the girl. I wonder what she's like. Poor Laura. I thought the wedding was in September. Do let me know if the engagement has been broken off. So, I can't believe it.
And I'm afraid I can, human nature being what it is. How appalling for Laura. I feel responsible for her. I wonder what Geoffrey Carlton would say.
Geoffrey? Huh. He's got a monkey's morals. Maybe it's a case of like father, like son.
Oh. As it happens, he's coming over here any moment to discuss the Elsmore business.
Oh, then I'll go upstairs. I don't want Geoffrey seeing me like an elephant.
Rather an elegant elephant, though. Oh, that'll be Geoffrey now.
Oh, Arthur, not a word to Rosie. She'd be dreadfully upset.
You leave it to me, Margot. Oh, Geoffrey, my dear fellow, do come in.
I have got something to tell you about the Elsmore.
Yes, and I've got something rather disturbing to tell you.
What train are you taking them to, Fred?
No, I'm not, Eileen. They're flying up to London in Mr. Paul's Pussmuff. I'm just taking them to the flying club. On my way back, I'll stop off and see that plane that came down yesterday.
And what's left of it?
Morning, Eileen. Morning, Fred.
Morning, Nanny.
I don't know what's come over the commander. Allowing it.
Now, come on, Nanny. You come and sit you down, have a nice cup of tea. Go on. Now, allowing what?
Allowing Vitting to go with Mr. Poole in that plane of his. It's not right.
I don't see that, Nanny. A lot of the gentry are flying planes now. And look at Mr. Cartland.
Mr. Cartland's not a sweet young girl with all his life in front of him.
Oh, Nanny. You better get Mrs. Poole's morning tea.
Well, I don't think you need to worry, Nanny. Mr. Poole's a very fine pilot. He'd never have been allowed to enter the King's Cup tomorrow if he weren't.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't think they ought to be allowed all this flying. It's against nature.
Yeah, I expect that's what they said about the railways when they came in 100 years ago. But now, nobody thinks nothing of them.
Maybe. I don't like it.
Well, Mrs. Poole's been flying around with Mr. Poole ever since they first met. Long before they were married. You never worried so much.
Mrs. Poole has always gone her own way ever since the war ended. It's different with Vicky. She's my baby.
She may be a baby to you, Nanny, but she's a young lady now. Oh. And soon, she may be Mrs. von Einig.
Oh, dear.
Now then, Fred, don't you tease Nanny like that. You know very well the commander would never allow it, not with things as they are. Come on, Nanny, cheer up. You'll soon have another baby to think of.
Oh, that's true. Only 4 weeks now. How's Phyllis this morning?
Oh, she's much more cheerful. Honey, well, he's like a child with a new toy about this air race. Will it be on the wireless, do you think, Fred?
To be sure it will.
Darling, you are a fool.
And you are very sweet. Very sporting of you to let me go.
Let you? As if I could stop you. I did try.
But you didn't try very hard.
No. You've always wanted it so much. Wouldn't it be marvellous if you won?
It would be marvellous. But the important thing is to finish. I've got a bet on with Toby Campbell that I shall come in ahead of him.
I bet you have. How many entries are there?
21. Now, look, I've got the number at Hatfield here in case you have to get hold of me. For goodness sake, don't lose it.
Put it under the pincushion.
All right. I'll telephone you tonight, 9ish, because I shall go to bed early. And then tomorrow morning we shall leave early, so I'll telephone you from Hatfield.
I hope it won't be too much of a bore for you having Vicky at the flat.
No, of course it won't. Well, she can get my breakfast for me tomorrow morning and generally make herself useful.
So she can.
I shall go and get a good breakfast inside me now. And why don't you get dressed and come and see me off?
At New End?
Why not?
Yes, why not?
And you take care of yourself. And him.
Right, everyone ready?
Let's get off. Where's Vicky?
Keeping us waiting. Come on, Vicky.
Vicky, come on, or we'll leave without you.
Fuck off.
Hello, Geoffrey. Look, sorry, we're dashing away. Wish me luck.
Am I early?
No, they're late. Now, come along, everybody.
You're giving Arthur a lift to London?
No, not to London, to Nice.
Good heavens. No, I mean, why is Arthur going with you?
Well, we've quite forgot. We're meeting the French fleet in Toulon, so...
I see. Enjoy yourself.
Come on, Phil.
Have a good trip. I must say, Arthur, you do get about.
Yes, I do, don't I?
Phil, there you are at last.
Good luck on Saturday, Jack.
Good luck, Mr. Poole.
Goodbye, Vicky, darling.
I'm afraid I dropped a brick. I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
well, I didn't want them to know that you were fetching me.
Nor do you think they'll smell a rat?
I trust not, except for Phyllis, who told me about Peter. Still, as you said, I get around a bit, and Toulon seemed as good an excuse as any. Yeah.
I suppose we are right to go.
It's the only responsible thing to do.
Well, I can't say I'm looking forward to confronting Peter.
No, no, still, sooner there than here. We may even have to confront the lady as well.
Well, after all, he is going to New York for a couple of months. Couldn't it have waited until then?
My dear fellow, if that's the sort of husband Peter's going to be, I'd as soon Laura didn't marry him.
Surely when you travelled around, you used to... Well, I mean, don't we all?
No, not all. I believe you have a meeting in Nice.
Yes, I suggest we confront Peter tomorrow morning.
Oh, good idea.
I wonder what the girl's like.
What's the latest on the weather?
Northwest and dropping. Hello, Toby. Thought you were going to miss the off.
Oh, no fear. I've just been doing my checks.
Again? Well, this is my niece, Vicky Bourne, and Klaus von Heine. Toby Campbell.
Hello. Hello there. Come to see us off?
Yes, I'm to see you come back this afternoon.
Toby and I have got a bet on, rather large one, that I shall come in ahead of him.
50 quid.
Heavens, that was indeed a large bet.
Ah, but then I am certain to win.
Really?
Shall we go outside and watch?
Will you excuse us?
Say, old man, a Hun. Is this quite in order?
Oh, he's a bloody silly. Klaus is a very sound chap. He's a pilot. And he's more or less engaged to my niece.
Ah, that's different.
This time I was off. Good luck, Toby.
Same to you, old man. And have that 50 quid ready.
Good morning, Mrs. Poole.
Oh, God! No! No!
Mrs. Poole, do be careful.
Hatfield, 345, please.
I do hope he wins. Oh, Klaus, isn't it exciting? You've got to teach me to fly. Then I can enter for the race myself.
Dear Vicky, women are not permitted to enter for the King's Cup.
That's where you make your ruddy error. The cup was won by a woman 8 years ago. A very remarkable woman, Win Brown. Oh, and in 36, Jean Batten broke the solo air record to Australia.
So you see that?
My flying mate.
You are an idiot.
Hello?
Can I speak to Jack Poole, please? He's flying in the King's Cup.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's just taken off.
Oh, my God.
Is that Mrs. Poole?
Yes.
Perhaps you'd better speak to Miss Bourne. She's here. She sounds a bit het up.
Hello, Phil?
Has he gone?
Yes, he's just taken off. Marvellous day and the wind's dropped. Anything wrong?
No. Nothing. It doesn't.
Oh, dear, that sounds awful.
Here, let me speak.
Hang on, Phil. Klaus wants to have a word.
Hello, Phyllis. Jack is due back in a little over an hour after his first 5 laps. Then he has half an hour's rest before the next 5. Shall we stay here and then ask him to phone you?
Oh, yes, please do. He said he'd telephone me before he left this morning.
Well, he did, at 8 o'clock, but Nanny answered and said you're awake tonight and she wanted you to sleep late.
Well, she did she? Well, damn Nanny. Anyhow, I'll stick by the telephone when Jack's due back, so please see that he calls me. How many people have left?
17 already. Toby Campbell is just about to go. Vicky is enthralled by it all.
Come on, Klaus. Toby's about to take off.
Oh, forgive me, Phyllis. We're going outside. Jack will phone in an hour or so. I beg you not to run.
I won't. Nanny, I do wish you wouldn't interfere.
I only wanted to get some sleep.
You succeeded in preventing me from talking to Jack.
I think Mrs. Poole could do with some coffee.
Yes, I'm sure that's what she needs. Come on, Nanny, you come and give me a hand.
And Phil, put your feet up.
Oh, after Junior's arrived, I hope never to hear those 4 words again.
All the same, I should act on them now.
Very well, Dr. B.
Are you sure you feel all right?
Yes, why shouldn't I?
Oh, you did take quite a toss down the stairs.
Well, it was nothing.
Come on, Nanny, you have a cup of coffee too. It'll do you good.
Thank you.
Oh, cheer up, love.
Things are very different from what they used to be. There was no call for Phyllis to speak to me as she did.
Well, you see, she was upset. She wanted to speak to him.
Phyllis always had it in her to be a rude little madam. Not like her brother. You know, I remember when she was only 6.
Now, if you'll excuse me, Nanny, I must get this coffee up to the hall. And mind you drink yours now. It'll do you good.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Gates. I could do with that.
I brought you some too, Miss
Yes,
Liz.
thank you, Mrs. Gates.
Mrs. Poole?
Yes.
Oh, it's nothing.
Well, what was all that about?
I expect you've upset Nanny. Poor old thing, she's getting a bit tetchy.
Getting? She always has been with me. Arthur could do no wrong, of course. I remember once, well, I must have been about 6, and she...
Phil, what is it?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just a twinge. I think it's nothing. Would you take my cup before I spill it? Oh, God!
Yes, that was more than a twinge, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. Well, Liz, don't say I've started. An 8th-month baby isn't a safe thing, is it? I mean, for the baby.
Now, don't worry. The sooner we get you upstairs, the better. Oh, Mrs. Gates, help me get Mrs. Poole upstairs,
No,
would you?
I can manage.
No, you can't. Nanny.
Yes, dear.
Ring Dr. Bentley's surgery at once and ask them to find him urgently. Say that Mrs. Poole has had a fall and that she's gone into labour 4 weeks early.
Oh, yes. Oh, dear. Oh, Mrs. Barkworth, would you get Dr. Bentley as quickly as you possibly can? It's very, very important indeed.
Oh, this is awfully quick.
Yes, it is, but don't worry, Phil.
Does it happen often?
You'll be all right. It's just a very quick baby.
He's impatient like his father.
Bentley's on his way. He won't be more than 10 minutes. He's told Nurse Ennis to come straight here.
Oh, thank goodness. It won't be long now, Phil. We'll be able to give you some gas and air to slow things down.
Is it Jack, do you think?
Yes, probably.
Well, Gates is standing by the telephone.
It's Mr. Poole, Eileen.
Oh, quickly, Liz.
Yes, all right.
Tell him I'm all right.
I will.
Mrs. Barkworth says it's a Hatfield call through in a moment.
Thank you, Gates.
How is she, Miss Liz?
No, it's a bit worrying.
I suppose Mr. Poole's got to be told.
Yes, of course.
Seeing as how he's lying second. Did Mrs. Poole hear the news on the wireless?
Yes, she did indeed. Hello, Jack. Hello? No, it's Liz. Listen, Jack, a bit of a shock, I'm afraid. Phil had a fall, and as a result, she started the baby.
Oh, my Lord. Is she all right?
I hope so.
She's being most awfully brave.
Is everything all right? Is Dr. Bentley there?
He's on his way, and the district nurse.
Oh, nothing will happen for a long time yet, will it? Long business, isn't it?
Well, no, not this time, Jack. The baby's coming too fast for comfort.
Oh, my God. Look, do you think I'd better drop out of the race?
Well, not without asking Phil first. Hold on, Jack.
I'll give her my love.
Yes, of course.
A poor dear old girl.
Dr. Bentley.
Thank the Lord.
Phil? Can you understand what I'm saying?
Of course I can. I may be in travel, but I'm not half-witted.
Jack says he'll drop out of the race and come straight back if you want.
The implying second. I've never heard such rubbish in my life. I may lose the baby. There's no need for him to lose the race.
Actually, my darling, the word is potent.
Can you believe it?
Believe what?
Here we are, all alone. And so ridiculously, utterly happy.
I can't really. To think where I'm supposed to be now. That dreary Greystone house near York.
There's even drearier cousins.
Yes. I bet it's raining up there now. It usually is.
I say, it was a brilliant idea of mine.
Oh, too brilliant for words. Though it wasn't really your idea at all. It was your father's.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know as well as I do that we wouldn't be here now if he hadn't thought out that scheme of sending you to America until just before the wedding.
I suppose so. I wonder if your theory is right.
But he hoped you'd find somebody else. Of course it is. It's obvious. Though I wonder why he didn't want you to marry me.
Because he's a dreadful snob.
Thanks.
He wanted me to marry into the county. Somebody with a title.
Rosie isn't like that.
Not at all. She adores you.
Poor Geoffrey. I'm sorry to disappoint him. All the same, I wish you weren't going away.
Only be for a couple of months. And then we'll be together until...
Until the war comes.
Yes. Darling, let's try and forget about the war for these 2 weeks. And just be happy together.
Yes, darling. Shall we go down to the pool again?
Yes. Oh, my dearest darling. If you knew...
I do know. Oh, damn, I've run out of cigarettes.
Oh, I'll get you some.
Thanks.
Here, catch.
Thanks.
Good Lord.
What is it?
Can you see what I can see?
What can you see?
Your adopted father and my father approaching the hotel with a very determined air indeed.
It's not possible. How on earth have they found us here?
Bush telegraph?
Or the pool aviation grapevine?
Hello? Attendez. Shall I ask them up?
Or we can go down?
Oh, no, thanks. If we're going to have a row, I prefer to have it here in private.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Tell them to come up.
Are you going to confront them dressed like that?
Well, why not? I'll put on a shirt. And I don't think you should appear until I call you.
Why?
I think they might talk a little more freely without ladies being present.
Oh, I see what you mean. All right. Well, good luck, darling.
Why?
You'll find out.
All right. Good luck.
Oh, hello. Please come in. Oh, why don't you go on the balcony? I'm very proud of our view. Well, please sit down. What can I order you to drink?
Nothing for me. No, nor for me.
Really?
I imagine you know why we're here.
Yes, indeed. What I don't quite understand is how you know I'm here.
The agent at Nice, his wife, wrote to Phyllis.
Oh, yes, of course. I should have gone to Biarritz.
Let me give you a bit of advice, my boy. In future, when you take a pretty lady away for a week, don't sign your own name.
Oh, thank you. Enough of this nonsense, Geoffrey. I want to work with Peter myself.
Carry on.
I must be perfectly straightforward and tell you that I regard Laura as one of my own daughters.
Of course, sir.
So, not unnaturally, I'm very angry and distressed. And may I say, somewhat surprised at your behaviour. Do you intend to treat her this way when you're married? If so, I shall have to advise her the only proper course of action is for her to break off the engagement now, before it's too late.
Oh, if it's not too late already, sir.
What on earth do you mean by that? Now, look here, Peter. Oh, what is it?
So she's here?
Yes, she is. Would you like to meet her?
No.
Yes.
Well, I think you ought to.
I see no point in it whatsoever.
Don't be so pompous, my dear fellow. Where did you meet her?
I think you'd be surprised to know.
Have you known her long?
Well, quite a while.
You mean that all the time you've been taking Laura out in England, you've been...
Carrying on?
As you say, carrying on with this little French...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think you had better meet... what did you say, Father? My pretty lady? Darling, if you've changed, why don't you come and meet my father?
I don't approve at all. And all I can say to you, Peter, is that I consider you totally without shame.
Really, sir? Ah, there you are.
Oh, Lord. Laura! Peter, you young devil! How dare you make your elders look like a couple of idiots?
Wasn't it a tiny bit your own fault, Commander?
In what way?
Well, you were only too ready to believe the worst of him, weren't you?
Yes, I suppose I was.
All the same, I'm a little surprised at you, Laura. And allowing Peter to sign you in as Mrs. Peter Cartland?
Yes, I must admit, I'm a bit surprised at that, too.
But, I am Mrs. Peter Cartland.
What? You're married?
Yes.
Good God. When?
Last Saturday.
The day you were going to see your cousins in Yorkshire.
Exactly.
But why? Your wedding's all arranged for September.
Oh, but you're sending Peter to New York, aren't you? And that means we wouldn't see each other for 2 months.
And with the possibility of a war? A month is very precious. You must understand that.
Yes. Yes, I suppose I can. Have you told Rosie about this?
Not a thing. And Peter and I were wondering, weren't we, darling, if you'd like us to keep it quiet.
What do you mean, to get married in the church in Winchley as arranged?
Yes, so that all the time and trouble Rosie's put into the wedding wouldn't be wasted.
I think it's an idiotic idea.
I'm sure you do.
Well, I think it's very thoughtful of you, Laura. The village would hate to be done out of their ceremony.
Oh, and instead of going to New York, Peter could go to the London office for 6 weeks or so.
And I have to be in London for my trousseau. So is it all settled? I'm sorry if we worried you, but we never thought you'd find out.
Oh. And I'm sorry that I misjudged your husband. Are you happy, Laura?
Too utterly for words.
And I'm afraid I rather misjudged that young lady, Peter. She has a great deal of character and will, I think, be very useful to the company. I hope you'll be very happy, my boy.
Thank you, Father. Well, what about that drink? And possibly an early lunch?
Oh, yes, the food here is quite breathtaking, you know.
Now, that's an excellent idea.
And don't forget, apart from us four, Mum's the word.
Right.
When are you going back, by the way?
Oh, not for another week.
What about that drink?
Oh. And after lunch, we must telephone home and find out how Jack's doing.
Yes, of course. It's the King's Cup today, isn't it?
Oh.
Larkfield Manor. Oh, yes, Commander. I'll get Miss Liz at once. It's the Commander ringing from France.
Thanks, Mrs. Liz. Hello, Daddy. Jack, he's lying third. He was second at one time. Yes, it is good, isn't it? Listen, Daddy, I'm afraid I have some other news for you, which is far from good.
Dr. Bourne?
Oh, hold on a minute.
Mrs. Poole is asking for you.
Daddy, I'll have to go up, but I'll get Rosie to explain things to you. She's outside. Rosie! Yes? Dad is on the phone. Would you explain things to him?
Arthur, my dear. Yes, Jack's doing very well. He telephones after every 5 laps. Listen, Arthur, prepare yourself for a shock. It's Phil. She had a fall this morning. Exactly. And the baby's a month early, you know. It all started very fast, but it's slowed down now. Dr. Bentley. Well, he has been. He's going to come back as soon as we ring. Nurse Ennis is here. And Liz, of course, is being a tower of strength. Yes, of course, it's very worrying. Phil herself? She's being amazingly brave. Won't hear of Jack scratching in a race or anything like that. No, when are you coming back? Oh, good. It'd be nice to see you. Was your mission successful? I didn't mean anything in particular. Just come back quickly.
I think I ought to get Dr. Bentley now.
Arthur, I must ring off. Nurse Ennis wants to use the telephone. Come back soon. How is she?
Not very well, Mrs. Cartman. Hold 153, please. Dr. Bentley, this is Nurse Ennis speaking. Mrs. Poole is fully dilated now, but she's not advancing, so if you could... Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Ah, Nanny. Now, how is she? Now, Liz is very competent, but like all doctors, she's beginning to speak in cliches. You tell me the truth.
Oh, I daren't show the others, Mrs. Cartland, but I'm so scared. I'm so terrified in case she takes a hemorrhage. And the baby seems to have stopped moving too, and Dr. Bentley may have to do a cesarean, and things are just as bad as they can be. Oh, it's all very fine for Liz to use big words and remain calm, but she seems to forget that Phyllis is one of our own family.
Now she's trying to give everyone some strength, and it seems it's needed.
Oh, yes. You may be right at that. Oh, I feel a bit better now. It's fine talking to you, Mrs. Cartland. All I can say is thank the Lord dear Lady Bournes away. It would have worried her to death.
She hasn't been told?
Oh, no. We decided to tell her nothing till we see how things go.
Very wise.
Oh, I could kill Mr. Poole if he hadn't gone in for this race.
Now, Nanny, that is not fair, and you know it.
Well, if only the commander had been here.
Oh, now, he wouldn't have been of much practical use, would he?
Well, that's true. And you are here. You'll not be leaving, will you?
I certainly will not.
As the commander said at the birthday party, what would we do without you?
No.
Nanny, sterile sheets are ready. Shall I take them off?
No, Eileen, I'll do it. You'll come and help. And we're preparing a bedroom in case Doctor has to operate.
Oh, now come along, Mrs. Gates. Cheer up.
Oh, Mrs. Cartland, it's terrible to see Mrs. Poole suffering like this. And now it looks as if she might lose the little baby.
Eileen.
Come in, Nanny. Is the commander coming back?
Yes.
Thank goodness for that.
Oh, Lord, how appalling.
Is Liz there?
Yes. Geoffrey, I'd like to get back as soon as possible. Oh, but if you've got business to see to here, I can catch the Imperial Airways plane from Nice.
No, I'll take you. You'll be nearer home the other end. We can go at once.
Has Jack retired from the race?
No, he wanted to, but Phyllis wouldn't let him.
Poor old Jack. What a dilemma.
How is she, Liz? Look, I don't think I can stand it. I'm going to drop out now.
Don't you dare, Jack. If you were here, you could only see Phil for a moment. Well, it'd be crazy when you're doing so well. Which lap are you starting next?
The last 5.
Well, then off you go. Try not to worry too much.
It's easy for you. You're there. I feel so terribly cut off. Look, Liz, things aren't going well, are they? Now, be honest with me.
Well, no, I'm afraid they're not. But by the time you finish the race, there may be good news for you.
Liz, you do understand one thing. If it's a question of Phil or the baby, it's Phil every time.
Yes, that's understood.
Give her my love. Same. Poor little chap.
Where's Jack? Where he?
Well, he will be soon. He's just starting the last lap.
Oh, thank God. I can't stand an awful lot more.
Is the room ready, Mrs. Gates?
Yes, it's all ready, Nurse Ennis.
Dr. Bentley has arrived, so now we can ease things for you, Mrs. Poole.
I want to say one thing privately to my niece.
Very well, but not too long. We mustn't keep the doctor waiting, must we?
Liz, I want this baby. So does Jack. Make them do everything they can.
Yes, of course they will.
But if it's a question of me or the brat,
Shut up, Phil, darling. Stop talking nonsense.
Fred? Fred? Look, why don't you go down to the lodge? You're asleep as you're sitting there.
No, I must wait until the commander gets back.
Well, you know, he said it might not be until the small hours.
Any news?
Miss Liz said if Mrs. Poole had been in hospital, they'd have given her a blood transfusion.
Transfusion?
Oh, well, whatever it's called. Anyway, it's the baby they're worried about. Oh, what Mr. Poole must be going through. Thank goodness Mrs. Cartland stayed to keep him company anyway.
You're not concentrating, Jack. You could have taken me there.
Yes, sorry.
How much longer?
Oh, I know. It seems endless. But it's only been 15 hours. It can take much longer.
Dr. Bentley wasn't very hopeful. I could tell that when I spoke to him.
Did Phil know you when he went up?
Oh, she was pretty dopey, poor love. He said it was the chloroform. Yes. Yes, she was very pleased to see me.
The commander's back.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh,
No,
any
Arthur.
news?
No.
No, not
No.
yet, but thank goodness you're back.
Rosie, you're here. I thought you had people for the weekend.
Oh, I'm off.
Ah.
Couldn't possibly let Jack sit here all by himself.
Drink, Arthur?
Please. So you came in fourth. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, I suppose no news is good news.
I wish I could believe that.
Jack? They're all right, both of them. Phil is asking for you, but be very gentle. She's had a pasting.
And the boy?
Oh, he survived a difficult birth. Must take after you, tough little fellow.
How can I ever thank you, Liz?
Oh, thank Dr. Bentley. He did miracles tonight. Oh, that's some of your best brandy for the doctor, I think, Father.
Of course.
Oh, Liz, my dear.
Oh, God. I've been so scared all day.
Oh, darling. You're human after all.
Oh, where my own family are concerned.
Hey, what's all this?
Oh, it's just me being foolish.
Oh, would you like a tot?
No, Daddy, I must help Nurse Ennis clear up first.
Who does he look like?
Like any 8-month baby, to be honest.
Thank God for you, Rosie. Jack could never have stood that alone.
Anything for you, Arthur? For your family?
Dear Rosie.
My darling girl. What a time you've had.
It's not much fun for you either. So, you finished your race.
And you yours. What's he like?
I haven't seen him yet, really.
What a lot of trouble to get a little monster like you.
We can't go on like this. We'll have to stop.
Impossible. They've made a bet.
It's only £1/crown.
The amount does not matter. There was a challenge and it's been accepted. It's a question of honour, Vicky.
Come on, Klaus!
Please hold the umbrella still.
All right, Gates. Shove them down here for the time being.
Very good, sir.
I'll sort them out later.
Right.
Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum. Hello, Liz. Bum, 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 ba, 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 ba,
Jack,
bum.
what's all this?
Bum. Winnings, my girl. Lovely, lovely winnings from the King's Cup air race.
Don't tell me they disqualified the first three.
Hello, darling. No, I had a bet with Toby Campbell, remember?
Yes.
Couple of ponies, I'd finish ahead of him. Well, poor old Toby's engine conked out over Luton on the 15th lap.
A couple of ponies?
Yes, 50 quid. Well, Toby's a bit short of cash at the moment, so he asked me if I'd settle for his movie apparatus. I said I'd be delighted.
Better go and get baby ready.
Hello, Nanny.
I'll go and get baby ready for his bath.
Oh, take it out to the bathroom, darling. We can start a family record.
Steady on, old girl. I'm not British movie tone yet. But I have got rather a good idea. Do you mind if I help myself, Liz? Cheers.
This is the National Service. Here is the news, copyright reserved. The spirit of measured optimism is evident in Prague following Lord Runciman's talks with President Benesch and the leaders of the Sudeten German party.
Things certainly sound more hopeful.
Pearl White, the film actress, died last night at Neuilly in France.
Poor old
She
Pearl.
starred in many films and will be chiefly remembered for her role as Pauline in The Perils of Pauline.
Anyone want any more?
The recommendation to Lord Amelrie's committee that 1 week's holiday with pay should become the natural.
I was brought up on the perils of Pauline.
And the exploits of Elaine. Maybe I'll launch one of you girls into the same kind of stardom.
What are you talking about, Uncle Jack?
This idea I've had. Look, We're all here on holiday. Nothing much to do except listen to the rain or worry about Hitler and what he's going to scream for next. Well, let's try and enjoy ourselves for a change. Let's make a movie.
Oh, sounds like fun. What kind of movie?
One with a story. Something like, well, let me see, Murder at the Manor.
Or Murder at the Vicarage. That's a very good mystery story I've just been reading. It's by Agatha Christie, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind.
Agatha Christie is also a very popular writer in Germany.
I doubt if our efforts would sell in Germany.
There is such a thing as breach of copyright.
No, let's be serious. Lady Bourne, I'm not suggesting we should try to rival Gainsborough Pictures. Toby only left me 3 rolls of film and a 4th half used. In other words, our whole story will have to be told in about 12.5 minutes.
With a cast of... 8, no, 7, because Jack will be working the camera.
Right.
And Commander Moore not being here, leaves only 2 male characters, Klaus and me.
I'm sorry, but I've only this weekend. I must go back to London on Sunday night.
Oh, what a pity. Well, Peter will have to play 2 parts. One with a moustache, one without.
Oh, darling, I'd like to see what you look like with a moustache. If it's going to be a murder story, we'll have to have a corpse. Oh, well, that could be Klaus, couldn't it? You could show him lying dead before he has to leave.
Right. With a knife in his back. That's a very good idea. Just like Agatha Christie.
I will be most happy to be a corpse.
But who did it?
You mean who done it?
We don't find that out till the very end when the detective inspector arrives. That'll be Peter with his moustache on.
It'll have to be the one you'd least suspect.
Right.
Oh, well, I'm sure I could never stick a knife into anyone's back. I'm far too old and feeble.
Now, well, obviously we're dealing with a house party, so I was hoping you'd be the hostess, Lady Bourne.
Oh.
The Duchess of Ditchwater. And it's your jewels thereafter.
Who are?
Yes, that's right. If you're a Duchess Granny, you'll have to have some jewels for somebody to steal.
Oh, I've got some jewellery, Liz. There's no trouble about that. But if I'm to be the Duchess, who's going to be the Duke?
Oh, look, I'm not playing 3 parts.
What about Gates? I'm sure we could make him up to look very distinguished.
Oh, really, Vicky? Gates is a splendid man, but you'll never get him to speak like a duke.
No, that won't matter at all. This has to be a silent movie. We tell the whole story in action and subtitles. Jolly good, Vicky. Well, now, let's see. 1 corpse, 1 duke, 1 duchess, 5 potential murderers. It's coming along fine.
What's Joe, Fred?
Oh, you'll never guess. I'm going to be a film star, that's what.
A what? Oh, no, don't say they've dragged you into that nonsense there.
That's right. But wait till you hear the really funny part. I'm going to be a duke.
Oh, I don't like that.
What's the matter, Eileen? I thought I'd give you a good laugh.
No, I don't think it's very nice. They're the ones who are laughing, Fred. Behind your back. Can't you see that? They're making a fool of you.
Oh, don't take it so serious, Eileen. It's only a bit of fun. Yeah, that's what we need nowadays, isn't it? All this talk of another war coming soon. Anyway, they're only using me because they're short of men.
I mean, if they'd asked you to be something like what you are, well, a chauffeur or a butler, it'd be different. But a duke, oh, no.
You're being snobbish.
I am? Oh, you're the one that's being that. Before we know where we are, you'll be wanting me to curtsy every time I come through that door.
Dukes don't come into kitchens.
Oh, get on with you. Well, I suppose if you've said you'll do it, you'll have to do it. But I still think it's a liberty. They're taking advantage.
Good. Head a little to the left. Right. Right arm pulled in a bit. Splendid. Now try and remember that position, will you?
I found this old gardening jacket of Arthur's, and I'm sure you won't notice a little slit in the back seam.
Well done. Where's that knife? All right.
Huh?
Hold it there. That's splendid. Splendid. Look, I'll have to bend the blade a little. Hang on. Right. Damn! I've broken it. Never mind, I think it'll still work. Here, Klaus, put this jacket on.
Yes.
Okay, flop down. Head down.
Yes.
Yes, come on. Right.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Dreadful. What do we do?
What do they do in the movies?
I don't know. I think we need something to stick the handle into. Something like a rubber. Have a look in the desk. Or a stamp sponge.
What about this?
Yes, it's rather splendid. All right, down, Klaus. Keep still. Right. Hold it. How's that? Tuck the string away. That's fine. Isn't it?
Darling, what about the bump?
No, that's fine. It's fine. Come on, let's have the clapperboard, whatever it was called in the silent days. Down a bit.
Murder at the Manor, scene 1.
This won't be scene 1.
Well, what scene is it?
I don't know, in the absence of a shooting script. Tell you what, we'll call it scene 1, you make a note of it, then we'll sort it out when we're editing. Okay. Here you go.
Murder at the Manor, scene 1, action.
That's for me to say. I'm the director.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. DeMille.
All right. Action. Hold it, Klaus. Cut. That's it. We're off. Oh, my God.
You wanted a sinister governess? You've put her in charge of an innocent child. Wait till you see the child.
On the kitchen, lollipop, sweet darling,
Finished. That's splendid. This is going to be some horror flick.
Think of such people, it is good I'm dead.
Well, you can die again now. This is where the governess and the child come in and find you stabbed. Start outside the door, you two, and come in together when I call action. Vicky, take Laura's hand. Now, you come in all unsuspecting. Then you see the body, Laura. You gasp in terror and clap a hand over the child's eyes. All right?
Right.
Let's have a brief rehearsal. Outside. Splendid. Now, when I call action... Action! That's very good. Very... What is it, Gates?
I'm sorry to be a nuisance, sir, but I wonder if I could change over that knife I found for you, sir. The one on Mr. Klaus's back. Mrs. Gates is in a bit of a tizzy, sir. It seems I took her best poultry knife.
Well, I'm afraid it's had a slight accident, Gates.
Broken?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear.
Tell you what, tell Mrs. Gates I'll buy her another one just like it first thing Monday morning.
Well, that's not going to get poor Gates out of the doghouse.
Oh, no, I'm afraid you're right, madam. That is, unless... Well, I hope I'm not presuming, Mr. Poole, but I don't suppose you could find a small part in this film for the wife.
You think that would do the trick?
Well, I think it might help, sir. Between ourselves, sir, I think Mrs. Gates is a little bit jealous, sir, that I've been asked to act and she hasn't.
Jack, we can fit her in somewhere, can't we?
Yes, I'm sure.
Well, even if it's only being herself, sir, opening the door or such like.
Why not? Now, the family are all gathered together in the hall when the detective inspector arrives. Mrs. Gates could let him in and announce him.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm sure she'll appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
Good, good. All right, you others, back to your positions. Yeah!
Her Grace, the Duchess of Ditchwater.
Oh, Granny, you look gorgeous.
Thank you, darling. And you look very pretty. A little fast, perhaps.
Only a little. I'm supposed to be a femme fatale.
Well, at least I prefer you to this dreadful pair.
Granny, allow me to introduce you to your husband. Come on, Gates.
Good gracious me. Is it really you, Gates?
That's right, my lady.
Those pearls, Mother, aren't they the ones that have been stolen?
Yes, they're my very best.
Yes, well, you can't wear them in this scene. You see, when the detective inspector arrives, they've already been stolen.
But I thought the Duke had to be seen giving them to me.
Yes, but that's in an earlier scene. We're shooting later.
Well, if it happened earlier, why do you shoot it later?
That's motion pictures, Mother. Now take them off. You can't wear them in this scene.
Oh, really? It's too bad. The inspector won't be nearly so impressed.
Look, how much longer have I got to hang around out there for?
Oh, just a minute, Peter. Jack's had to reload the camera.
Ready now. Back outside, Peter. Lady Bourne, you look splendid. Sit down, ladies. Gates, you stand here. You walk forward and shake hands with the inspector when Mrs. Gates introduces him. And then you take him across and introduce him to the ladies. Where is Mrs. Gates?
Oh, Nanny's open her dresser. I'll go and get her.
No, you won't. You're an actor now.
Are you ready, Mrs. Gates?
Ready, madam.
Well, look, you come on when you hear Mr. Poole shout action, okay?
Okay, here we go. Lights.
Murder at the Manor.
What's the matter?
You've left the cap on the lens.
Good Lord, so I have. Well, it's an easy mistake to make. Good thing you noticed it. All right, everybody? Phil?
Murder at the Manor, scene 2.
Action!
Good evening, I'm Inspector Yardley.
Detective Inspector Yardley.
Please, how do you do, sir? Would you, I'd like you to come this way, sir.
Jolly
and to
good.
Meet the other members of this house, sir.
Cut! That was fine. Yes, fine. I'm now going to pan round you 4 ladies in turn as you say how do you do to the inspector. Bring that lamp across, Phil. Peter.
Well, will you be wanting me again, sir?
That was all, Mrs. Gates.
Oh.
You were jolly good. Thank you.
Oh, very good, sir.
Now, the inspector is supposed to be standing where the camera is now. Peter, go over there, will you? Gates, over by the fireplace. Right. Now, the detective is supposed to be standing here when the Duke introduces you all. You each greet him in your different ways. All right, bored, Phil?
Darling, there is only one of me.
Come on, darling. Right.
Murder at the Manor, scene 2, continued.
Action. Her Grace, the Duchess. A condescending nod. Awful child. A simper. You might blow him a kiss, you little horror. Lovely. Naughty girl Liz. A come hither look. Sinister governess. Very cold. Almost a scowl. Cut. That was splendid. Right, bring that lamp, will you, Gates? Come along, Phyllis. We move on to the study now for examination of the body.
I should think poor Klaus will be getting dead man's cramp.
The term is rigor mortis. Oh, don't be so horrid.
Right. Now put the handkerchief over the knife. Good. You're going to have it examined for fingerprints later, but don't pull it out now. It's got no blade. But lower your head a bit, Peter, will you? That's better.
Oh, damn.
For heaven's sake.
Look, you can't blame me. There's no spirit coming in the house. I only use flour and water.
I think Arthur's got some grip fix somewhere. I'll have a look.
May I come alive?
Yes, relax, sorry. Well, there's about 10 feet of film wasted. I've only got 2 rolls left.
Well, the shorter this movie is, as you ask me, the better.
I don't.
How long
Thank you,
before we
Vicky.
see it, Uncle Jack?
Well, if we get the first roll posted on Monday, we should get it back in about 10 days' time.
As long as that? Can't you get a credit at Horbury?
Afraid not. It has to go to the Kodak people in London for processing.
Oh, what a shame. I was hoping we'd all be here to see it together.
Would it help if I take it with me to London? I could hand it myself to Kodak on Monday morning.
Yes. That would certainly speed things up a bit. And if you were to tell them it was very urgent, we might even be able to collect it next Friday.
I will do my best.
Here we are.
Klaus.
This should do it.
Probably give me blood poisoning.
Well, we all have to suffer for our art.
Come on, Peter.
There's a noble bit of hearthrug.
already a welcome visitor. Go along in.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Well, you are. And in the nick of time. I was about to explode.
I'm glad to be a safety valve.
Oh, do please sit down.
No prizes for guessing what's upset you.
Well, the naval estimates. There's none so blind as those who will not see. Who wrote that? Your school days are nearer than mine.
Well, I wouldn't bet on it, but I think it was Swift. What I would bet on is who is leading the blind.
Yes, no prizes for that either. Our blinkered Chancellor of the Exchequer. Sir John Scrooge Simon. Will that man never wake up to what's going on? Economic stability is fine in its time. But this is definitely not the time to put it before security. Yet still we are told that we can't afford to keep up with the ever-growing fleet of a nation that's supposed to be bankrupt.
This was a timely visit.
Oh, Angela.
Look, Arthur, I think you could do with a drink, and I know how you hate drinking alone, which is another way of saying I could do with one too.
Yes, of course. You know, this really is a most pleasant surprise. What'll it be?
I think one of your lovely pink gins.
Ah.
I've yet to meet a barman who can match you at those.
Well, that's my old naval training.
You were about to inquire tactfully why I'd butted in on you.
Does there have to be a reason?
I'd like to think not. Actually, I'd been visiting one of your neighbours, Sir Richard Cochrane.
Oh, the King's doctor.
One of them, yes.
Oh, so he's my neighbour. Useful man to know.
Well, I hope you never need to.
Nothing wrong, Angela, I hope.
What, with me? Oh, no, nothing like that. No, I've been interviewing the old boy about Hitler's latest edict.
Well, about Czechoslovakia?
No, not that for a change. But you probably haven't heard yet. It's just been announced in Germany that as from next month, no Jew may practice any longer as a doctor.
Oh, my God.
Fantastic, isn't it? As Sir Richard said, their loss will be other people's gain.
Yes, if the poor devils can ever get out. And still, those maniacs, those thugs are treated by our rulers as though they were responsible, civilized statesmen.
Look, I agree it makes one squirm, but if crawling to them is going to help avert a full-scale war...
Oh.
You really think it'll come to that, don't you?
Yes, Angela, I'm afraid I do. The Rhineland, Austria, Sudetenland. And I don't think Hitler's going to be satisfied with one bite out of Czechoslovakia. The French don't want to interfere. The Americans say it's none of their business. And what do we do about it? We send out Lord Runciman to mediate. A dear old gentleman who's had a bit of success in settling the odd strike. Hitler must be laughing his head off. Oh, Angela, my dear, I'm so sorry. I'm depressing you more every minute you're here, and I'm so glad you are.
Well, like most people with this present lull, I've been kidding myself that the danger was receding. Then a lull can be a sinister thing, can't it?
Coming before a storm? Well, not that it always does. Perhaps most people are right, and I'm just an alarmist. Anyway, as soon as I've tidied up here, I'm off back to Larkfield, where, thank heaven, they don't allow blasted foreigners to interfere with their way of life.
The best thing in the world for you.
Here, let me take your glass.
No, thank you. I must get back and write my story.
Oh. Angela, come with me. To Larkfield, I mean. You know, just for a week or two, away from work and worries.
I wonder. It's very tempting.
Well, I'm not the only one who needs a rest. Life hasn't been much fun for either of us.
Fun? I'd almost forgotten the word.
Something disturbs you in the night. You wake up and see a shadowy figure opening your jewel case. You gasp in terror, then you pretend to be asleep again while he tiptoes out.
That would be cowardly. I should throw something at him and shout for help.
I am sure you would, Lady Bourne, but the character in our story mustn't recognize the intruder. Your eyes have to be shut while he tiptoes past you to the door. As soon as it closes behind him, you switch on the bedside lamp and turn to wake your husband, the Duke. Then you gasp again. He is no longer there beside you.
But he has been there?
Yes.
No, Jack. I'm certainly not sharing my bed with Gates.
Mother, don't be absurd. It's out of the question. He doesn't even come into the room.
But it's been suggested that he was there. Where has he gone, anyway?
Granny, he's gone to visit his mistress. That's me.
But of course you don't know they're having an affair.
It all sounds very immoral. Couldn't the Duke be absent for some other reason?
You mean he had to go to the loo?
I don't think that's very nice anyway, dear.
Jack, I have an idea. Perhaps the shadowy figure was the Duke himself.
Out to steal his own wife's jewels?
Yes, for the insurance money. He waits downstairs until the house is quiet. Then he goes outside, climbs up the ivy, and makes out that the burglar's a common intruder.
But that would mean the Duke himself has to be the murderer.
Yes, that's right, because Klaus has discovered our secret and is blackmailing him.
I think that's good. The Duke's the last person one would suspect, just like Agatha Christie.
Yes, I like it. I was going to make Peter the villain, but this has one big advantage. We can now have a fight at the end between the murderer and the detective who's unmasked him. That wouldn't have been possible if Peter had had to fight himself.
Well done, Liz.
Well done indeed. Now, Lady Bourne, if you'll settle down to sleep, we'll have a rehearsal with Phil doing the intruder bit.
Now then, nice and comfy, eh? The wee bit. Now Nanny's going to lift up his hood, because Mr. Rain might come on and wash you all away. Yes, there's a good wee chap. Giving old Nanny a nice wee smile, eh?
Probably wind, Nanny.
Not at all. I'd never dream of putting him down without getting his wind up first.
Just a motherly joke, Nan.
A smile for your daddy, then. Oh, he's fast asleep. He's a lovely boy, then.
Nanny, haven't seen Vicky, have you?
I think she went upstairs to try and make herself decent again.
Yes, look, tell her we want her back as she was, will you? But this time wearing her nightie.
And we'll be round the front.
Now these noisy people have all gone away. We'll have our nice wee snooze, won't we now?
Here's your 11s, Nanny.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I still think it's a shame you're not in it with us. I'd like to have seen you there on the screen with the rest of us.
I'm too old for that kind of nonsense.
Oh, go on. Lady Bourne seems to be enjoying it all right. I still keep laughing. Her ladyship married to my Fred. Oh, you've heard the latest, have you?
Oh, what's that?
Well, they've made him more important than ever. He's the murderer now.
But is that more important than being a duke?
He's both. I reckon you could say star at picture.
Bings!
Oh, dear. Bit of a shooting star by the looks of things. Oh, thunder. Better bring the baby in.
Yeah, I got to get changed and made up again. There's a new scene they want me in.
Well, what about my runner beans? There ain't enough here to feed one of them.
Oh, I can't help that. I'm back to being a tough. Now, turn your back, Eileen. I'm about to take my trousers off.
That's all very well, but those have got to be stringed and cooked in time for lunch, Fred.
Not my fault. First things first.
Oh, thunder.
Yeah. I said we'd have a storm soon. It's been that close. Now, wash your hands, Eileen. You've got to powder my hair again.
Got to. Don't you start using them lordly airs with me, Fred Gates.
Dukely airs, if you please.
Oh, Phyllis!
Oh, that's Nanny.
Phyllis! Oh, Phyllis!
Nanny, what is it?
Oh, it's the baby. He's gone. Yes, somebody's taken his pram and wheeled it away. They've kidnapped him.
Kidnapped him? But couldn't one of the family have taken him?
Oh, they were all busy filming when I came past.
All my fault. Drinking cups of coffee when I should be keeping an eye on him.
Now, it's all right, Nanny. Now, I'll run and find his mother. She might... Oh, no.
Eh? Oh, thank God.
Oh, Mrs. Poole, you did frighten us all. We thought baby had been kidnapped.
Oh, a squealer? You'd have to be deaf to be as daft as that.
Oh, darling, let me take him. Oh, my sweetheart. There, no. It's a good job they didn't wake you up. He was sound asleep when I left him, you see. I couldn't think why anyone wanted to disturb him. And with the pram gone too...
Well, I know, Nanny. I tried to stop his father, but you...
Oh.
I say, Gates, is this a new fashion among the nobility?
Oh, my heavens.
Right. You're looking out of your nursery window, and you see this mysterious figure climbing towards your granny's bedroom. You watch in amazement. You got it?
I'll try.
Right. Now, I'm going to track in now to a big close-up. Ready? Action!
Oh, there you are. Daddy's just telephoned. Oh? To say he'd be coming down on Friday. Oh, good. He needs to get away from London for a bit. Well, he's offering to bring Klaus down. Or rather, they are. Oh? Angela Scott. Again. That's what I thought. Anyway, she's bringing them both down in her car. Oh, well, you can tell Jack that he'll have 2 more additions to his cast.
Now, this is the scene where you're assembled here for the great detective to crack the case. All of you, that is, except Vicky.
Oh, and I'm not here. As my other self, I mean.
Darling, didn't you tell him?
Sorry, I forgot. Peter, for technical reasons, we've decided you'll have to die too. You are the murderer's second victim.
Oh, what a shame. It was such a good part.
Shut up, darling. Lying dead suits me fine.
Now, we're coming to the moment when the detective inspector points to the murderer. You, Gates, the wicked Duke of Ditchwater. But you don't give in tamely. You snatch this gun down from the wall.
Funny, I'd never noticed that gun hanging there before.
It never did, Lady Bourne. I hung it. You turn it on the inspector. Your finger goes to the trigger.
Surely guns that hang on the wall are never loaded.
This one is. The Duke had the forethought to load it when he sensed the net closing around him.
Oh, yes, but if you show him doing that, you're giving the game away too early.
Don't show it, of course. It'll have to be assumed.
Oh, that's the secret of good cinema. Leave as much as possible to the audience's imagination.
Absolutely. Now, let's just see how it works. Peter, you're standing here, addressing the company. You're talking to them. Suddenly you swing round and point to the Duke. That's you, Gates. Out, Vicky. Right. When he does that, Gates, you seize that gun from the wall. You turn it on the inspector and you start backing towards the door. At that moment, it opens behind you. The child is coming in, all innocent. We shoot her later.
Oh, but you can't have the poor child shot. That would be in very bad taste.
I was, of course, using the term in its cinematic sense. The Duke hears the door opening behind him. It distracts him long enough for the inspector to spring forward and seize the gun. They struggle with it till finally the Duke is overcome. Now let's just see how it works. Right. You're just finishing your summing up, Peter?
At long last we come to the end of this silly charade. There sits the killer.
Up the Duke! Gun! Good heavens, Gates. By this time he'd have you in handcuffs and on your way to the Nick.
Oh, well, I'm terribly sorry, sir, but I didn't see how it was fixed, sir. I'll get it right next time.
All right, put it back. I'm going to shoot this time, so for heaven's sake, don't let it happen again. And give us a decent struggle, both of you. I want it to look as if the Duke's going to win till you eventually get the better of him, Peter.
Jack, what are we supposed to be doing at this point? Just looking on po-faced?
Really, Liz, your language.
Well, sorry, Granny. Wasn't as bad as all that.
Well, I know I'm old-fashioned, but I've noticed that since you've been at that hospital, you tend to be very unladylike.
Look, I hate to interrupt, but we are supposed to be making a film.
And Liz asked a very good question. What do we do while Peter and Gates are struggling?
It doesn't matter. The camera will be concentrating on them.
Anyway, heroines in silent movies never did lend a hand. They just stood around, as described by Liz.
Well, if I remember right, they used to put up a fist to their mouths like this.
That's good, Lady Bourne. You do that, but only you. It'd look silly if you all did.
Oh, and we couldn't have that, could we?
It's enough, Peter.
More than enough. Now, for heaven's sake, let's get moving. Lights, Laura. Now, I've got very little film left, and I want to get it all in the can, first take. All right? Are you ready, ladies? Laura? Board, Phil? Hurry up, Laura.
Murder at the Manor.
I think we all know the title by now.
Really,
Thank you. Out. Action, Peter.
I hate this movie, and I don't want anything to do with it again. There sits the killer.
Good. Hands up, Peter. Back towards the door, Gates. Head jerks over his shoulder, listen to the door opening. Onto him, Peter. Now let's have a really desperate struggle. Splendid. Back, Vicky, you're in shot!
Saved it.
Good heavens.
Terribly sorry, Miss Vicky. Are you all right?
It's all right, Gates. No harm done.
Oh, speak for yourself.
Oh, darling, what is it?
It's my ankle. I think I've sprained it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Peter, but I couldn't bear to see this broken.
Oh!
Poor Peter. But Vicky, it was very thoughtful of you. That vase is older even than I am.
Gates, help him up, will you? We'll put him on the sofa. Jack, take his other arm.
Kill the lights. Come along, Peter. Right. All right, we'll have to shoot that scene again later. Now, Laura, if you can tear yourself away from your stricken intended, we may as well do the one in the study where you're trying to open the safe.
The show must go on, and don't let anyone dare ask why.
I think, dear, if I'm not needed, I'll just go up to my room for a little while. It's been rather tiring.
Oh, you do, Mother, darling. Gates, I think you can relax for a bit, too.
Oh, well, very good, madam.
Come along, Laura. He won't die in your absence.
We'd better oblige.
Carry on, darling. I'm in very good hands.
Anything I can do? Yes, a cold compress might help. Get a flannel and some cold water and ice. Right. Well, there's no sign of swelling yet. Does this hurt? And what about this?
Well, that's all right.
And this?
No, just a little.
What about this?
No, that's fine.
I'm a better doctor than I realised. I seem to have put it right already.
What do you mean?
Oh, come off it, Peter. This is a case of what Nanny used to call shamming Abraham.
You suggest I'm putting it on?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm giving you a diagnosis. You yelled blue murder the first time I applied pressure to your tibialis anterior. But you hardly noticed the fact that I'd gone back to it just now.
Well, that's a rotten trick, Liz.
Well, it's not half so rotten as deliberately spoiling everybody else's fun. Or putting a kibosh on poor old Jack's precious movie.
Well, if you got the heart for it, I haven't. A serious time like this. Well, it's all so damn silly. Look, I didn't see much of the war in Spain, but I saw enough to see what a ghastly shambles we're all drifting into. They put on false moustaches, a lot of childish play acting in the face of what's probably coming. I'm sorry. It's not the kind of thing I can pretend to enjoy.
That's a pity. You wouldn't feel so bad about it if only you could relax a little. It's extroverts like Jack Poole that help to keep us sane and calm in times of danger.
Well, it's too late to recant now. And as far as they're aware, I'm hors de combat. So don't let me down, Liz.
Are you asking me to break my Hippocratic oath?
But surely you swore to keep the secrets of your patient? And I did turn my ankle over.
How's it feeling?
A little better, thank you.
Yes, this should keep the swelling down. That I can promise.
Okay, Doc. What's the verdict?
Nothing broken, I'm glad to say. But the retinacular of the ankle joint took the full strain of his weight.
Oh, darling, and you've been so brave.
Put that in terms a layman can understand. Can the kid carry on?
I'm afraid I've had to advise him to relax as much as he can.
I'm sorry, Jack.
Damn it. What else do we do now?
Why don't you take over the part, Uncle Jack? Why, I'm sure Phil can work the camera.
Excellent idea. You'll be a much better cop than I am.
And it's not as if you'd be out of it altogether. You can still play second corpse.
What do you say, Phil?
Well, I think I might manage it without giving Mr. Hitchcock too much cause to worry.
Yes, probably is the best solution. All right, Vicky, get Gates from the kitchen. And tell Mrs. Gates we shall want her for a new announcement.
Right.
Right.
Oh, Jack. The inspector's moustache. Oh, you've got your own.
Could you come back, please, Gates? They're waiting for you.
Ah, well, naturally. Can't do without the star, can they?
Oh, if you would stand by, Mrs. Gates, we're going to do your scene again.
I think we'd better have a rehearsal while I get used to pointing this thing and Jack gets used to acting. Right. Action!
Yardley of the Yard.
Detective Inspector Yardley.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Yes, they say the rain is never as wet in the country, don't they?
What the? Oh, I don't... Arthur, what the heck are you doing? Get out of it!
It's only a film.
Is this you, Gates, or is it your father?
He's the wicked Duke of Ditchwater, Arthur, and we are making a film.
I'm very sorry, sir.
It wasn't your fault, Gates.
Can this trollop be a daughter of mine? Yeah, oh, and this must be Laura.
The wicked governess.
Well, you at least look splendid, Mother.
Thank you. I think we could all have some time off now, thank you, Gates.
Oh, you know Angela, Mother, don't you?
Oh, yes, how nice to see you again.
Hello, Miss Scott. Welcome to our Hall of Horrors.
I hope you're well up on weak hearts. Mine has nearly stopped. Well, what's the title of this epic?
Murder at the Manor, a Jack Poole production.
Yes, I might have guessed it.
Hello, Miss Scott. Hello. Where's Klaus?
Yeah, well, you didn't come with us. We hoped you might be here.
Oh, no, he said he'd be outside the bank at 3:30.
Well, we got there in plenty of time. There was no sign of him.
Yes, the bank was closed, but we rang the bell and was told he'd left earlier. We thought he must have mistaken the message and came on by train.
Well, something must have happened to him. It'd be so unlike Klaus otherwise.
Oh, not necessarily, darling. It's probably just some misunderstanding.
Perhaps he's ill. I'd better ring his flat in case he's gone back there.
Liz,
Poor Vicky, it is worrying.
Yes. Show Angela to her room, would you please? Gates can take the bag up later.
Yes, follow me.
Hang on, Arthur. Would you take over the role of the detective inspector in this film of mine?
I thought you were playing that part.
No, I was only filling in. My place is behind the camera.
Oh, all right. If you insist. Yeah, I'll just go and change.
Yes, but did you happen to notice if he had a suitcase with him when he left this morning? And he hasn't been back since? Yes, he knows my number. Thank you.
Cheers.
You haven't seen my new tweed jacket, have you?
New?
Yes, I thought I left it in the cloakroom. Oh, never mind. I probably took it upstairs.
Arthur, a detective inspector on duty wouldn't be wearing a tweed jacket.
Oh, certainly not. He'd be wearing a suit, like the one you've got on.
Don't you think so? All right, then, upstairs I am.
Yeah, no. Not a very good match, that thread, but it's the best I can do.
With any luck, he won't notice the back, and if he does, I'll take the blame.
Oh, but it's my fault, too, in a way. When he asked me to mend the other one, I said it was fit only for a scarecrow.
Action!
Detective Inspector Yardley.
Detective Inspector Yardley.
How do you do, Inspector? I'd like you to meet the other members of my household. This good lady is my wife.
Cut! That was fine.
Was I all right?
Jolly good, Mrs. Gates. Thank you very much. Now we have to tackle that fight scene once again, and for heaven's sake, let's get it in the can this time. You remember what I told you, Arthur? You're addressing the company. You turn and accuse Gates. He snatches the gun from the wall. He backs towards the door. He looks over his shoulder. You grab the gun. You struggle with him till finally you disarm him. You got it?
Yes, you got that, Gates.
Gates could play it on his head by now. And don't be too gentle, Gates, even if he is the boss. Right? Positions, please. Board, Phil.
Right, this is where I...
Scene 22, take 2.
Oh. This is where
Action, Arthur.
Oh, sorry. Yes. This is where I, Detective Inspector, whatever his name is, reveal the identity of this dastardly murderer. Ah! For God's sake. Cut! 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 Cut!
Shall I answer it, sir, like this?
Well, I think you'll have to, Mrs. Gates.
Detective Inspector Jones.
It's Detective Inspector Jones, sir.
Commander Bourne?
No.
Yes?
Detective Inspector Jones, sir, County Police Hereford. Might I have a word with you?
Yes, well, I think you'd better come into the study. Oh. Ooh.
Car, is it Klaus?
No, it's somebody for Daddy.
I'm here, sir, at the request of the Special Branch.
Special Branch?
I believe you have a Mr. Jack Poole staying here.
Yes, you must have seen him. He's my brother-in-law.
In that case, I take it you know Mr. Poole pretty well, sir.
Well enough. What's all this about?
I understand he's a flying man.
Yes, Poole Aviation. That's a subsidiary of Carter Motors. He has his own plane. Flew in the King's Cup last month.
Would you know, Commander Bourne, his attitude towards the present international situation?
Inspector, I wish I could understand what you're getting at.
I don't need to tell you, sir, but some people among us, people who otherwise are above suspicion, do have a certain misguided sympathy for Hitler, what he's trying to do for the Germans. We'd like to know if Mr. Poole has ever ventured any opinions in that direction.
Jack? The idea's ludicrous. You couldn't find anybody less politically minded than our Jack.
As a member of Parliament, sir, and a distinguished naval officer, you personally have no doubts about this man's loyalty?
None whatever. If war breaks out with Germany, as I'm very much afraid it might do, I'll back my brother-in-law to be in RAF uniform before the first siren sounds.
I see, sir.
Inspector, would you kindly tell me why you suddenly decided to investigate Jack Poole?
I think it might be better if we had the gentleman himself in here, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, it's so difficult.
Jack, come in here, will you?
Me?
Yes.
What can Jack have been up to now?
Well, at least we know it can't be anything to do with Klaus.
Mr. Poole, you're acquainted with a certain Klaus von Heinig?
Yes. He was here last weekend.
Klaus is engaged to my youngest daughter.
Did you hand him a roll of film and ask him to take it to London for processing?
Yes, I did. We're making a film here, you see.
Yes, I've explained to the inspector why he saw so many odd people in the hall.
The film I'm inquiring about is something very different. Do you take your camera with you when you go flying, Mr. Poole? Take pictures from the air?
No, I've only had it for a week or so. Belonged to a chum of mine, Toby Campbell. I won it on a bet.
I see. Was there any film in the camera when you received it?
Yes, about half a roll. I used the second half for the early scenes in my movie.
They were not on it.
Well, there must have been. Unless that... Oh, hell. Well, I've just remembered. After I reloaded the camera, my wife pointed out that I'd left the cap on the lens. It must have been there all the time. Oh, damn it, that means I've got to shoot those early scenes again.
We're concerned only with what was left in the camera. Pictures of a new RAF aerodrome in process of construction.
Yes. Yes, that makes sense. Toby Campbell shot a lot of stuff from the air. He keeps a filmed record of emergency landing fields. If we're going to run over a strange area, then we often ask him to run a bit for us, just in case.
Ah, the light's beginning to dawn. A young man with a German accent takes a film to be processed.
Says it's urgent. Some bright spark at Kodak remembered the German gentleman. They were waiting for him when he called back for the film. These days we can't afford to take chances. If I could use your telephone, Commander, I think I might be able to straighten things out.
Oh, please, Inspector.
Oh, poor Klaus. They've locked him up in a cell.
Oh, I shouldn't think so. No, detained for inquiries was how the inspector put it. Oh, did you get through all right?
Oh, cleared up. The young man shall be back with you tomorrow.
Inspector, I wonder if you'd care to play yourself in this film of mine. Add a touch of reality.
I couldn't do a thing like that, sir, without permission of the Chief Constable.
Pity. Arthur, you could telephone Colonel Braithwaite. I'm sure...
No, Jack!
All right. Well, we'll still have to make do with you, Arthur.
I could give you a few tips, sir.
Right. Raise the head gently, Arthur. Good. Lift one of the eyelids. Splendid. Now put the head back where it was. Good. Right, we'll go for a take. Lights, Vicky?
Wait. Am I not to wear a jacket with a knife in the back?
We've changed the script. You've been strangled.
Strangled?
That's right. Now, if we can get this all in one take, I'll have just enough film left for the cast to take a final bow.
Yes.
Mrs. Gates, Vicky, Klaus, all edge into the centre more, please. Liz, would you give us your other shoulder? Splendid. Thank you. It's all right. Still one of ours.
Noni. Oh, dear. What's wrong? Oh, poor wee mite. Oh, wee William, come along, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, was your nappy bothering you, eh? Oh, was you hungry? Oh, were you just lonely? Never mind. Everything's all right now. Nanny's here. Nanny, make everything all right.
What are you doing?
I'm comforting this wee boy and crying his heart out.
Will you please put him back in the cot?
Yes, well, let him calm down. Maybe his nappy changed. So we
Please do as I ask and put him back in the cot.
Did you not hear him crying?
Yes, of course I heard him crying.
And you did nothing about it?
Are you criticising me?
You're supposed to be a trained nurse. If you hear a wee baby crying and do nothing about it, you must expect criticising.
I don't wish to have an argument, but you must understand that William is my charge now. You must also try to understand that there are different, more scientific ideas about child rearing. A more psychological approach.
Psychological?
Now, please, will you put William back in his cot?
You don't need a diploma, nurse. Understand babies. You need an instinct, a bit of natural human warmth.
Please give him to me.
See, now you're starting them off again. Don't we?
Look, I know you mean well, but Trilby King is quite clear on this point. If a baby cries in the night, and you go to him and make a fuss of him, he's got what he wanted and he does it again the next night.
Is it not your beauty sleep you're worried about?
Baby William is my charge. Now, please give him to me.
I've looked after a lot of babies, Miss Gibson. Far more than you, I'll be bound. And I've another advantage. I'm old enough to see how they've turned out. Good Lord. Jack, why haven't you asked Gates to load the car?
We should be leaving for the aerodrome in 15 minutes.
Oh. Sorry, sweetie. Bad head.
You didn't drink much last night? What's the matter with you?
I didn't sleep much last night either. Well, did you?
You mean young William? Was a bit much. But Nurse Gibson assures me that Truby King advises against making a fuss of babies that cry in the night. It's a bit hard, I know, but we must stick to one expert or we'll get into the most terrible muddle.
Truby King. Sounds as if she ought to be on the bill at the Café de Paris.
Hello, you two. All packed up. Happy halls, eh?
I don't know about that. He's in a mood.
Better snap out of it, Jack. A moody aviator could be dangerous.
I'm only going on one condition.
Oh, what on earth's that?
That William and the nurse sleep in the servants' quarters at the other end of the villa.
God, men are selfish.
Not as selfish as babies. Come on, let's get going. Where is Gates?
Just a minute, if you please.
What is it, Nanny?
I'm worried. I've been awake all night.
Haven't we all?
It's not right, you know. It's not sensible. It's not responsible. And you should be ashamed of yourself for not having thought of it.
Oh, Nanny, what's all this about?
You, being off up in the air and over the water in that contraption of his. They're awful, dangerous things, always dropping out of the sky like stones.
Portsmouth? It's a beautiful machine.
Oh, I don't mind you having your toys if you must. Men are just overgrown bairns anyway and need their bits of machinery. But what about wee William?
William? Isn't he a bit young for machinery?
Jack, I think I know what Nanny's talking about.
Well, bravo.
Nanny, William isn't flying. He's going by boat and train with Nurse Gibson.
I know how he's going and who with. But what happens if you two both fall out of the sky? There's poor wee William with neither a father nor a mother.
For heaven's sake, Nanny. Phil and I have been flying together ever since we first met. Why do you have to be so pessimistic all of a sudden?
Oh, it's not flying weather.
Now she's a weather expert.
Commander, has my hip ever been wrong? All the aches and twinges I get are far more reliable than any barometer.
Jack, I'm afraid I'm inclined to agree with Nanny. Now, it's up to you, of course, but why don't you fly and you, Phil, you go by boat and train with the nursery party?
Well, I was looking forward to this flight, but now all that's been said, I shall just sit there tensely waiting for us to plummet into the sea.
Oh, I'm sorry to have spoilt your pleasure, I'm sure.
Oh, Nanny.
I don't mind. You all know me, easygoing Jack Poole. But whatever the plan is, can we please get a move on?
I've been trying to make you get a move on all morning.
Yes, I'll go and get Gates to load the car.
Gates!
Gates!
Nanny, would you tell Nurse Gibson that we shall be leaving in a moment?
They've asked me to tell you they're ready to leave now.
Splendid. So are we.
You'll make sure that he keeps out of the sun.
I make sure he has plenty of fresh air.
Too much sun, you know, it's not good for wee babies.
Depends on how strong the sun is, doesn't it?
Yes, and if it's very hot, he needs to be sponged all over with nice cool water.
That's quite right.
Written about it, has she, this Ruby Keeler?
Dr. Truby King happens to be a man.
A man? What does a man know about bringing up babies?
What he doesn't know about babies could be written on the back of a postage stamp. So I shouldn't worry. Hello, William. Up we go.
There we go. Would you mind, could I hold him for a wee minute? There's a wee darling. Oh, bye-bye, my wee sweetheart. Have a lovely holiday and come back home safely.
Are you ready yet up there?
Just coming, sir.
The wee darling.
May I take him now? Come on, William.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Wee darling.
Here we go.
Oh, my, it's been nice.
Sorry?
Having a baby in the house again.
Oh, but you've been so worried. All right, William. All right.
I still am.
Oh, you'll see him again soon.
I won't know what to do.
Oh, do?
With myself, nobody to care for. Just feel as if everything's over, finished.
You could knit William a nice pair of little booties.
Oh,
and have them ready when he comes back. There.
Yes.
Say goodbye, little man. It's time we were off on our holidays, isn't it?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye. Nothing. Barely a sign of anything left. All the years. Lovely long years of laughter and tears. No, nothing left. And mine. Where's mine? All the energy that was in me. Gone into others. Left my darling lying here, here. I left my darling lying here. But wasn't it a fine time, though, eh? Eh, when we were waiting, that was the best time. Waiting for a wee brother or a wee sister. Home and golly home, golly home, golly home. Home and golly home. I've lost my darling baby. Oh.
I know what you're thinking.
I think that you look absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you. I meant about me staggering out of bed at this hour. Oh, that wretched baby. I hardly slept a wink. Are they all gone?
Said she, hopefully. Yes, all off to Latuke. As though how they travelled, that's another story. Do you know, we've got the house to ourselves for once.
Nice.
Yes, very nice. Lazy August. Everybody on their holidays. No international crises, no committees, no telephones, and at the moment, no speeches. And no children for once.
Are you sure you're happy about that?
That's the funny thing about children. When they're all around you, laughing and squabbling and rushing upstairs and banging doors, you can't wait for them to clear off. But once they've gone, the house seems unbearably quiet.
Yes, but your girls haven't been children for some years now.
Yeah, that doesn't stop them from squabbling and rushing upstairs and banging doors. Well, now, what shall we do? Have a quiet lunch on the river? A game of tennis later on when it's cooler?
Sounds gorgeous.
Oh, Angela, do you hear that? I think I spoke too soon.
Why don't we just quietly disappear? Shoot out through the back door. Come on.
Well, it might be something important.
Oh, Arthur, you're so irredeemably conscientious. Come on.
Peter!
Hello.
Rosie! Well, thank God it's you.
What on earth do you mean?
We thought it might be someone worse.
Oh, thank you. Arthur didn't put that very well. He thought it might be someone connected to his work.
Yes, we planned a quiet day, you know. No problems. International, national or local.
A holiday, in fact. Day on the river.
Oh, please, don't worry. We won't be staying long.
Oh, of course, Rosie. You stay as long as you like. And you too, Peter. Oh, by the way, Laura's shopping in London. Oh, but you know that, of course, don't you? Yes. Rosie, do please sit down and tell us all your news.
Well, it's rather worrying. Well, at least it is to us.
Oh, what is?
Geoffrey. He hasn't been seen in his office for... How long is it now, Peter?
3 weeks at least.
Well, have you tried to telephone him?
Repeatedly, but he's never at home. He's rung the office a couple of times, and he sounds odd.
What sort of odd?
Well, it's difficult to pin down. But he keeps making excuses about being away on trips connected with armaments. I know they're excuses because they don't add up.
Oh, he was always a hopeless liar.
Oh, this isn't the best time to play truant with all this War Office business blowing up.
There's a ton of paper on his desk. Reports, letters, requests for information from the brass hats. And only he can deal with them.
And the other thing is, every time we ring the house, she's never there.
She?
Penelope Finch.
Look, it is August.
What on earth has that got to do with it?
Everyone's on holiday. Or perhaps he simply decided to take a few weeks off.
No.
Why not?
Because we know him better than you do.
That's true.
No. I think what Rose is trying to say is it's so unlike Geoffrey to be away for weeks on end without a word to anyone. I mean, as far as business is concerned, he's very methodical. Almost rigid. Look, don't let's get this out of proportion. I mean, I'm sure there's a perfectly simple excuse. I'll get him on the telephone and see if I can get some sense out of him.
Arthur, I thought we were...
Very sorry to have inconvenienced you, but we are rather concerned.
Yes, I can see that. When I broke up with my husband, I ceased caring what happened to him.
Yes, I can understand that. No doubt he felt the same.
Rosie, why don't we take a turn around the garden whilst we're waiting?
Yes, why not?
Oh, don't let me drive you away. I'm going up to my room.
Come along now, we'll have none of that moping. Time for your morning milk, and then it's sums, my boy. Oh, yes, I know it's the holidays. But you don't want to go back to school next term and find you've forgotten your multiplication tables, now, do you? No. Well, now, 9 times 8 as... What? Oh, I know, it's always a bad one, the 9 times table, but never mind. 9 8 as 72. Well, you better go and learn it properly, or there'll be no jelly for your lunch. Now then, it's a lot of things to get, much to be done. This list now. Planet, you see? That was what Admiral Bourne said, planet. Planet like a naval campaign. That's what we did for the firstborn. Now, concentrate. Get ready for the big event. Now, have I left anything out? No. No, it's all there. Well, there's a lot of things to carry. Never mind. No time like the present.
Oh, go night, Nanny.
Bring into Horbury. Things to be bought.
Eileen thought you might like this, seeing as you didn't come down earlier.
Come down? What time have I got to come down and drink coffee and eat biscuits?
Eileen thought you might be a bit peckish.
At a time like this? No. Got to go into Horbury.
Oh, what's the hurry?
Oh, to prepare.
Oh, yes. Catching the bus, are you? Didn't leave till 11 o'clock.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with my legs.
Well, I could drive you in, the commander wouldn't mind.
No. I don't want any men around, no. Keep men out of the way. And their clubs and their golf courses. No, let the women get on with it without men getting and getting under their feet.
Yeah. Well, if that's the way you feel.
Oh, it is. It has to be.
So what is it?
What is what?
Well, what is it that you're preparing for?
You mean nobody's told you?
Oh, nobody said a word to me, honest.
Oh, well, maybe it doesn't matter. As I say, men are always getting in the way. Jealous, you see. Jealous of the attention going somewhere else. They like it all to themselves. Understand that?
No, I can't rightly say that I do.
No, stupid man. But all men are stupid. Just daft. No, off with you, please. I want to check my list, please.
Yes, his boys here, and Rosie Cartland, they're both imagining all kinds of ghastly things. And I'll tell you something else. He's ruined what promised to be a very pleasant day. Oh, hold on, will you? Yes?
Sorry to interrupt, Commander, but I'll come back later on.
That's all right, Gates. I'm almost finished. Well, thank you very much for your help. Yes, of course I will. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. Well, what is it, Gates?
Well, I don't know exactly, sir.
You don't know?
I may be wrong, but, well, I'm not sure. I've had a word with Mrs. Gates, and she said that I should speak to you.
Speak to me? What about?
Nanny.
Nanny? Was she ill?
Not exactly ill, sir, no. Just acting funny.
What sort of funny?
Saying funny things like, sir. Well, not funny so she'd laugh. Oh, she's on about men, sir, getting in the way and that sort of thing. And she's off to Albury walking.
Walking?
I wouldn't listen to my offer to run her in by car. With your permission, of course, sir.
Oh, this is absurd. I'll go and have a word with her.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to have to bring this up, sir, but, well, she's acting a bit like she did, sir, after Mrs. Bourne and Miss Anne died.
I see. Well, thank you, Gates. Oh, Nanny. Nanny, just a minute. Look, if you're going into Horbury, I'll get Gates to drive you by car.
It's none of your business, Arthur. Naughty wee boy, always interfering. You keep your grubby wee nose out of other people's business, or Nanny'll have to give you a good spanking.
Geoffrey.
Hello, Arthur. Caught in the act, eh?
Yes. Well, that's not the first you've had this morning.
No, not the first. And not, I hope, the last. Shall I,
No, thank you.
Well, Arthur, how are things, eh? How's the family? Well, and how's that little poppet of yours? Pretty little thing. What's her name?
Angela.
That's right, it's Angela. Angela Scott. Oh, you're a lucky fellow, Arthur. Damn lucky. What are you staring at me for? Oh, come on, don't be such a stuffed shirt. Have a drink. Let's have a little party. I need one.
Seems to me as though you've been on a party for weeks. A nice little party all by yourself, Geoffrey, eh? Just you and a bottle. Or a crate.
Are you attacking me?
A lot of people are very worried. Peter and Rosie. And where the devil have you been?
Where have I been? Well, now, let me see. I've been to the Ritz Bar in London. I've been to the Ritz Bar in Paris. I've been to the Café Royal and the Café de la Paix. And I've been to my London club and the nightclubs.
Yeah, no, all right. So you've been on a bat.
Absolutely.
What's the problem, Geoffrey?
Problem? Problem? I just felt like a party. That's what I said, isn't it?
How's the business?
The business? Well, it could be worse.
It's far worse if you carry on like this.
Oh, Arthur. I didn't come here for one of your quarter-deck lectures. I just came for a quiet drink and a chat.
With me?
Well, with Rosie, actually, but she doesn't appear to be here, so... Well, with you.
All right. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. Do you know how old I am, Arthur?
50?
Plus a couple. Oh, what a mess. What a catastrophic, cataclysmic, god-awful mess. Why are some people good at it and others so utterly hopeless? And you're good at it, aren't you?
Good at what?
Oh, you know. Making it work. Women.
I see.
What a bitch she turned out to be. Do you know what she cost me? And you're worried about rearmament, aren't you, you chaps at the Admiralty? Well, let me tell you something. What I spent on Penny would have bought you a couple of battleships. And I'd have chucked in a few destroyers as well.
She's left you?
Yeah. Cleared out. Vanished. Vamoosed. I'm on my own now, Arthur. I'm 52, and I'm alone. And I can tell you I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit.
No chance of a reconciliation?
Oh, she's found someone else. Some Dago in correspondent shoes.
Dago?
A South American. His father's an Argentinian tycoon. I do business with him. That's how she met the son, the little runt. There's an irony for you. I actually introduced them, and she's gone off with him. Oh, it's a sensible move, though. Nobody's going to drop any bombs on Buenos Aires. And her little playboy will be worth millions one day. Oh, and of course he's young. He's still a boy. Young and slim and smooth-faced. Oh, I might have guessed one day, sooner or later, but you know, after leaving Rosie and the divorce and all the money I spent on her, well, I did think that perhaps... You say they're all worried about me?
Oh, Peter's in a bit of a stew.
And Rosie? What about Rosie? Is she worried?
Well, why don't you ask her yourself? She is here somewhere. In the garden with Peter, I expect.
Oh, thank heavens you're back. I've been worried silly. What happened?
I did like the commander said. Drove slowly behind her at about 5 miles an hour. I had to keep stopping in case I overtook her.
Didn't she get tired?
Oh, she walked fine. Strong, with like a purpose. Yeah, she didn't see me. Well, then the Aubrey bus came along. She got on and I followed along behind.
What was she doing in Albury? What's she on there?
She went shopping.
Shopping? Is that all?
By the time she was finished, those 2 bags were full.
Full of what?
Oh, I don't rightly know. Well, the mood she's in, she'd have given me stick if she caught me spying on her. Me being a man, like. Anyway, she didn't see me. Well, then she got on the bus back and I followed along behind again.
Does the commander know she's back?
Yes, I've just told him. He's with Mr. Carlin.
Him? What's he doing here?
I don't know. Except getting stinking drunk.
Oh.
Well, it's up to the commander to sort out Nanny now.
And it's up to me to provide lunch for 5 instead of 2.
Well, it won't be the first time.
Nor the last. You know, Fred, I don't like this about Nanny. I don't think it's for the commander to deal with. I think it's more medical. I only wish Miss Liz was here. Fancy Nanny talking to the commander like that, though. I know it's wicked, but I'd have given anything to have heard her. Just like he was a little lad again.
Nanny? Nanny, will you open the door?
Nanny? Nanny, it's Mrs. Cartlin. Now, can you hear me? Now, please, open the door. We're worried about you.
Where you go, the pair of you? I went play in the garden. Oh, I know you're bored. But there's plenty to do in the garden. There's your lovely new bike, Arthur. You've only had it a few days and already you're bored with it. Now, there are plenty of children in the world that would do anything to have a beautiful, shiny new bike like that. Now, run along. Now, there's enough to do without you getting under our feet.
Well, what do we do now? Break down the door?
Oh, no, that would frighten her. We'll just have to wait till she comes out.
What is it? Some sort of second childhood?
Naughty children. Naughty boy, Arthur. Don't think Nanny can't hear you whispering and giggling away out there. Now you go into the garden and look for worms.
Worms?
Obviously a passion of young Arthur's.
You steal that wee thrush's eggs, I'll take a stick to you, my lad. It's cruel to deprive a mother of her young ones. So cruel. So sad when they go. Oh.
I think we'd better just leave her for a while. She'll come through it. And when she does come out, we'll get Dr. Bentley to have a look at her.
No, I think I'll have a word with Mrs. Gates. She and Nanny are as thick as thieves. Perhaps she'll have more luck.
Well, shall I come with you?
Yes, do. Oh, there's still Geoffrey's problem to talk about.
Geoffrey's been a problem for years. He can wait.
Oh, don't look at me like that.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know. Head prefect, vicar. Well, can't a man get drunk occasionally?
You've been drunk for weeks.
Oh, don't be so pious. Come on, what are you going to have?
Nothing, thank you.
You know what? You're becoming a bit of a prick, Peter. Where is everybody? I come here for a quiet drink and everybody disappeared.
You're not the only one we're worried about.
Oh? Well, who else is there?
The Bournes nanny. She's unwell.
What's the matter with her?
She's been behaving oddly.
Oh? It's a competition, is it? A little competition for sympathy. Well, we'll have to see who wins. And I'll tell you I'll win, because I won't play fair.
Is that why you came? For sympathy?
Well, what else?
Well, I would have hoped you might have come here to give us an explanation.
Oh, yes, that does come into it, I suppose, but... Well, you know the explanation now.
Penny?
Right.
Well, that's an explanation, but hardly a justification. You should see your post and have to listen to the people bellowing down your telephone.
Oh, my God, the callousness, the ignorance of youth. Do you think it'll never happen to you? Do you think you and your Laura will sit pretty for the rest of your lives? A rosy-cheeked old couple in a garden? I hope you do.
You're pathetic.
What's that?
You turn up here in a drunken stupor, wallowing in self-pity. Well, whose fault is it? Have you thought of that?
Oh, it takes two, you know.
To what?
To make a mess of things.
Now, rubbish.
Well, I've tried, Peter. I gave her everything she wanted.
I'm not talking about Penny. If you want to know, I'm not in the least bit interested in her. But did you try with Rosie? She tried, yes, but did you? You talk about the ignorance of youth. But what about you? A greedy little child always thinking there's something better round the corner.
Not anymore.
Oh? Why the change of tune?
Well, what do you know about it? What do you know about anything? You're still wet behind the ears. Oh, look, I don't mean to be condescending, Peter, but there's a lot more to life and people than you understand at present.
At my age?
Yes. We do dreadful things to people we love, Peter. Dreadful, hurtful things. And you can know what you're doing's wrong. You can know you don't want to do it. And yet each man kills the thing he loves. Have you never felt anything like that? Ah, the delectable Miss Scott. I have a drink, Miss Scott.
No, thank you.
Does everyone in this house sign the pledge?
I presume there'll be some lunch fairly soon. Are you staying?
Lunch? Food. Why not?
Where's Arthur?
Upstairs. With Rosie.
Oh, I see.
Fussing over dear old Nanny, who appears to have loosened a few screws.
Not alone, is she?
Oh, now you're doing it.
Doing what?
Well, picking on Geoffrey. I come here expecting to be clasped to the bosom of a family who adore me, and what do I find? I'm lectured and insulted.
Take no notice of him. You're feeling nauseatingly sorry for himself.
You know my loving son, Peter, don't you?
I was going to spend a quiet day on the river.
The irresistible Arthur, no doubt.
Who has spent the morning fussing over Nanny with Rosie. That is when he wasn't fussing over you and your problem.
Oh, we're all so selfish. So damnably selfish.
You speak for yourself.
Oh, I am. Let's have another drink. She appears to have... Well, how shall I put it? To have slipped back in time a few years, Mrs. Gates.
Well, from what Gates has told me, sir, quite a few years. To when you was a little boy, is that right, Commander?
Yes, that's exactly right, Mrs. Gates.
At about the time when he was bird nesting and looking for worms.
Now, when would that have been, sir?
Well, I really don't see...
I'd say you'd be about 10 at the time. What do you think, Fred? 10's about the age for bird nesting, isn't it?
Any time between the ages of 8 and 12, I'd have thought.
Well, does it matter? Mrs. Gates, I'd like you to go upstairs and see if you can get Nanny to open the door. I mean, you might have more luck than we did. She's not like to imagine that you were one of her former charges. I mean, you weren't looked after by her when you were a child. And you're such a good friend of hers.
There is a chance that you might get through to her, Mrs. Gates.
Well, I'll do my best, madam. But I think it's just a passing phase, sir. You know, like last time.
Yes. Well, let's hope so.
Now, just you wait till you see what Nanny's got for you, baby brother or sister.
Nanny? Nanny, are you in there? It's me, it's Eileen. Come on, Nanny, let me in. You haven't had a thing to eat all day. I've brought you a late lunch up on a tray. Some nice salad and some brown bread. Come on, Nanny, love, open the door now.
Come in.
Here we are, then. There, I've brought you a nice ham salad, some tinned apricots for dessert. Oh, you've done your shopping, I see. Oh, my word, you have been busy, haven't
Yes, I've got everything. Oh, I'm all ready. Isn't it exciting?
Ready for what, Nanny? Isn't what exciting?
Look, isn't that lovely? See? Oh, they've got the sweetest wee things in Judd's. And wait till you see, look at this wee jacket, see? All hand-knitted. Oh, I'm all prepared. I'm all ready now.
Ready for what?
Well, have you not heard? For the new arrival, of course. A wee brother or a wee sister for Arthur.
Well, that's what she said, madam. And when I left, she was laying out all her shopping on the table. Oh, some lovely little things. Little bonnets, booties, leggings.
Yeah, please, Mrs. Gates, we don't want a complete inventory.
Must have cost a fortune, madam.
Phyllis.
What?
That's who she's thinking about. Her mind has wandered back in time to when you were about 10 and Phyllis was about to be born. Oh, poor Nanny.
Well, if that's it, madam, I think I know what brought it on. You know she's been looking after young William this last few weeks.
Phyllis's baby?
That's right. Well, she really enjoyed it. You know, having a baby to look after again after all these years. And then, you see, well, suddenly it was taken away from her and she felt like bereft.
Yeah, I'll go and talk some sense into it.
I don't think there's much chance of that, sir. You've been a man in that.
Oh, Arthur.
Oh, what is it?
My dear fellow, I'm sorry if I was a wet blanket during lunch, but now...
Now what?
An irate little shopkeeper.
What?
Name of Judd. He's just arrived. He's absolutely hopping mad.
Well, where is he? What does he want?
Well, I think you'd better go and have a word. There was so much traffic in here, I took the liberty of parking him in your study.
What does he want, Geoffrey?
Well, what does anybody want in this house? He wants to talk about dear old, batty old Nanny. That's all he'd say.
Oh.
Mrs. Gates, isn't it time you started getting dinner ready?
Oh, yes, I suppose it is, Commander. I'm sorry.
Mr. Judd, isn't it?
That's correct, sir. Judd and Judd Limited, Holborn.
Yeah, so what can I do for you, Mr. Judd?
Hello, Rosie.
That smile was always dangerous. Are you still drunk?
It's at this time of the afternoon. Joker as a sudge.
Well, it's rather a delicate matter, sir, concerning one of your employees.
Miss Benson, I gather. Our nanny.
I believe that was her function some years ago. She's behaved, well, not quite as one might expect, sir. Rather badly, if I might be so bold.
Aren't you thoroughly ashamed of yourself?
Oh, Rosie, please. I've hung about all day waiting for a chance to talk to you. Now we have got a few moments. Don't let's waste them on lectures on the evils of alcohol.
What do you want to talk about?
About us.
Us?
You and me.
I stopped bracketing you and me together a year ago when you did.
Yes, I know, but... Well, I thought that perhaps...
What?
Well, Arthur said you were worried about me. Is that true?
Peter was worried about you, principally because of your absence from the works.
You're a hard lot, aren't you? I could have been dead.
Oh, no. If your mind can reach back through the clouds of alcohol, you'll remember that Peter telephoned you twice. He got no sense out of you, of course.
Oh, she's left me, Rosie.
I know. Are you sad?
Well, I was at first, but now I've had time to get things into perspective. Do you want to know what I think of Miss Penelope Finch?
Oh, please, don't tell me. My own ideas of that particularly young woman are quite lurid enough.
You sound bitter.
And what else do you expect me to sound?
Oh, I've had a hard time, Rosie.
Only a dose of your own medicine.
Do you want me to go?
Not my house.
Don't you ever think about what it was like? You know, before.
I used to. But not now, I'm afraid. I'm far too busy. I've got my Red Cross, the WVS.
You don't spend 24 hours a day making jam or knitting socks for territorials.
Don't be so damn superior.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to come out like that. I know you do some very valuable work.
No, now you're being patronising.
Well, what I was trying to say was... It can't all mean nothing to you now.
Or what?
Well, what we had. I mean, surely sometimes, in the small hours, you...
I sleep very soundly.
Then you're lucky. Oh, those dreadful hours. Between 1 o'clock and dawn. All the spooks and goblins come out to haunt you with your
misdeeds.
Missed opportunities. Now I wander around the house smoking and wondering why. What's it all about?
What is what all about?
Life.
How very deeply philosophical you are. Not a bit like yourself.
Oh, now who's being superior?
Tell me, did you experience hobgoblins while Miss Finch was still with you? You're lonely, Geoffrey.
Yes.
And sorry for yourself.
Never.
What do you want?
What?
It's known as the direct approach.
Oh, we were talking about the good times.
You were talking about the good times.
Oh, Rosie, you're not making this very easy for me.
Oh, it's quite intentional. The last time I made it easy for you, where did it get me? You want to put your feet back under the table, don't you? Yes, perhaps. You're 52 years of age. You're useless without a woman in your life. And you're beginning to think that perhaps time is passing you by. Well, perhaps it is.
Rosie.
Oh, don't! How dare you come crawling back to me?
Crawling?
How else would you describe it? Now, I wonder where you were when you decided that perhaps good old Rosie was the safest bet. Lolling in some bar somewhere. You've come back here on your hands and knees, Geoffrey.
You flatter yourself. Oh? Useless without a woman? Oh, you underestimate me, Rosie. You think I'd fall apart just because... Me, Geoffrey Cartland. After what I've achieved in my lifetime, I'm not entirely lacking in an instinct for self-preservation.
You're a dipsomaniac, Geoffrey.
I am not.
People talk about you and laugh.
What?
Oh, you must know that.
I wouldn't come back to you if you were the last woman on earth.
You're going to need someone.
Well, not you.
And why did you come here looking for me?
Well, because I thought in spite of the past we were still friends. That we could have a rational conversation. It seems that I was wrong. Do people really talk about me?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
What, does Arthur?
Now you're asking me to be indiscreet.
Oh, you...
Go on, say it.
There's no point. You know what I think about you now.
Good. Well, I'm very glad that is settled. There is no possibility of history repeating itself. But I might be able to help you, Geoffrey.
I don't want your help.
You're going to need someone's help, and there is someone in this house who's got so much love to give and no one to give it to.
What, Ange?
Nanny. Run along to the schoolroom, Geoffrey, and be her little baby boy.
Oh, very amusing. And there's no point in my hanging around here any longer. I shall surprise you, Rosie. I've done it before and I'll do it again. In fact, my whole life has been a sequence of highs and lows. Declines followed by rapid recoveries. And when I recover and I look around, do you know what I see? I'm just that little bit better off than I was before. Oh, and you can tell your Arthur next time he's having a little laugh about me that he who laughs last, etc. And I'll wipe that smirk off your face, my girl.
I hope you do. My poor old Geoffrey.
Oh, Geoffrey gone?
Yes.
Yes, with all guns firing by the sound of it. Hey, what have you been up to?
I have been devious and manipulative, and I'm very glad you didn't witness it. I played upon his pride outrageously. And probably the next time we see him, he'll have been offered a knighthood.
Clever girl. Oh, Mr. Judd, would you come in here a moment, please? Now, you listen to this. We're going to need a little more of your female cunning. Oh, now, you know Mr. Judd of Judd and Judd.
Yes, good afternoon,
Mrs. Cartland.
And Mr. Judd has come to report a very serious crime.
Really? What on earth could that be?
12 nappies.
Nappies?
3 infants' dresses, 1 shawl, 2 pairs of woolen bootees, both pink, 2 pairs of leggings, 1 bonnet, pink, and 1 matinee jacket, pink, and many other items. I have the list here. All stolen. Got a new girl assistant. I leave the shop for 3 minutes, and when I get back, I find that things are not as they were. Piles of garments disturbed, and the girl, who will be dismissed tomorrow, was reading a magazine at the time of the crime, which, and there can be no doubt about this, was committed by Miss...
Benson?
Miss Benson.
Nanny? I don't believe...
There's no doubt about it, madam. She was entering the shop just as I went out. When I came back, the stuff had gone, and no one else came in while I was away.
Yes, well, everything we returned, that goes without saying. I'll go and talk to her. Rosie, perhaps you'd be kind enough to explain to Mr. Judd.
Explain? What?
What? Why, about Nanny, about how she hasn't been herself and how worried we've been about her. I mean, you're so good at explaining things.
Mrs. Cartland?
Well, Mr. Judd, it is like this. Nanny has not been herself today.
Oh?
Well, no, that's not quite right. She has been herself, but herself at an earlier period in her life, do you understand?
No.
She has slipped back.
Oh, yes. Where?
In time.
She imagines herself to be a good few years younger than she really is, about 40 years.
You mean 40 years back she was a thief?
Oh, no. Oh, no. She was never a thief. Oh, dear.
Nanny, let me in. I want to talk to you.
What is it, young Arthur?
Well, if you let me in, I'll be able to tell you I can't shout it through the door. It's too awful.
Oh, what have you been up to now?
I've done something very naughty, Nanny. I've been stealing.
Stealing? Oh, stealing? Oh, that's very naughty, Arthur. Come away in. Better tell me all about it. Come on now. Get it off your chest. Own up now like a man. What have you stolen?
All sorts of things.
Where from?
A shop.
A shop? What shop?
A shop in Holbury.
Oh, this is shocking, Arthur. Oh, what's the Admiral going to say about this? Oh, you're going to get such a hiding, my boy. Why did you do it?
I don't know. I just felt like it.
Oh, and you with all these beautiful toys. You that only has to ask to get almost anything you want. Are you not ashamed?
Yes, I suppose I am.
Yes, but why? Were you jealous? Was that it? Jealous of all the fuss over the new baby brother or sister arriving? How many times must I tell you, Arthur, it'll be a wee playmate for you. And we'll all love you just as much, you daft wee boy. Come on now. What did you steal?
Nappies, booties, pink ones, leggings, bonnets, and a matinee jacket. It was so easy, Nanny. Mr. Judd went out and there was only this silly girl in the shop. You know, she was reading a magazine with a picture on the cover of a lady and a doctor. I stole all those things, Nanny, and some baby blankets and lots of other things as well, and nobody noticed. Now, wasn't that clever? Don't you think I was clever, Nanny? Silly old Judd. He won't find out. Look, I stole all these things, Nanny. All free because I'm such a clever thief.
Oh, no, Arthur, it's wrong.
Wrong? Well, why pay for things if you can get them free?
Oh, don't, Arthur. What's got into you, laddie? This doesn't sound like you.
I did it for the new arrival, Nanny.
Who?
I did it for her.
Oh, Arthur, there's something far wrong.
Wrong? Well, what's wrong with this? Look, Phyllis will love it.
Phyllis?
My new sister.
Sister? But how did you know?
Know what, Nanny?
That it was a wee baby sister, a wee girl called Phyllis.
You know, Nanny, don't you? That's why you stole pink leggings, pink bonnets, pink jackets, everything's pink.
Stole?
Yes, Nanny, you raided Judd's shop. You've just been telling me about it. Now, why did you do it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Of course you do.
Oh, please, don't shout. Oh, I'm all confused.
There's nothing to be confused about, Nanny. You stole them for Phyllis.
Phyllis? But Phyllis is it?
Is what, Nanny? Phyllis is what?
She's a married woman. She's got a wee boy of her own.
Yes, William.
Wee William.
Yes, and he's gone on his holidays with his parents and his new nanny. Now then, what's her name? Gibson?
Oh, I don't care for her. Do you think she'll remember to keep him out of the sun?
I think she will, Nanny. Now, shall we put all these things away?
What?
Why, these baby clothes.
Aye, yes. Oh, better clear them all away. Yes. Dear wee bonnet, that, but we've no need for it. No. No need for any of it anymore. It's all over.
It's good of you to be so understanding, Mr. Judd.
But I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, it is rather complicated. But I'm sure that a man of your intelligence, when you've had time to think about it, will realise there's no real criminal intent. It's merely a temporary regression.
Regression?
Yes. And Dr. Bentley is arranging for Nanny to go into a nursing home for treatment.
Treatment? For regression?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tell them about it in Holbury. I'm sure they'll be deeply impressed by your understanding of the problem.
Yes, treatment for regression. I'll tell them. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Rudd.
Judd?
Oh, yes, of course.
Talk about deviousness. We make a very good pair.
Yes, I had noticed.
Angela, I'm so sorry to have neglected you. Oh, what's the time? Oh, nearly dinner time. Whole day's gone.
On Mrs. Cartland's former husband and on Nanny. Do you remember? Seems ages ago now. We were going to spend a quiet day on the river.
Problems can spoil one's pleasure if one is the tiniest bit conscientious.
Is Nanny such a problem? I should have thought she was a little bit past it.
I don't know you very well, Miss Scott. But don't you think you ought to know a little bit more about this house before you pass judgment?
Look, can't we forget our problems? Can have a nice, peaceful evening? Rosie will stay and dine, won't you?
No, thank you, Arthur.
Oh, do. It'll just be the two of you.
What?
I'm sorry, Arthur, but sorting out Nanny's problems could have taken up the entire evening as well as the entire day. I saw Geoffrey as he was leaving. I've promised to have dinner with him. He was very persuasive.
Oh, please, don't worry. It just means that Geoffrey's on the mend.
What?
It's his way of telling me that there are plenty more fish in the sea.
Oh.
They have both made a defiant little gesture. She'll be back.
Yes. Yes, I suppose so. But you will stay now, won't you? I mean, even if the world abandons the Czechs, you won't abandon me, will you?
Never.
In that case, I shall mix a gargantuan cocktail. Oh. Rosie, ring the bell, will you?